Hey everybody, Legal Vices here. Just letting you know I'm on vacation now, so what you're about to watch is a pre-recorded program over at Fair and Balanced channel. I was on her show a couple of weeks ago, and we were talking about all kinds of things. Conspiracies, aliens, supernatural events, ghosts, demons, things like that. We decided that we had so much fun doing that we're probably going to make that a regular feature between us. Do one every couple of weeks or every week or so, just talking about all kinds of conspiracies and weird stuff, just because it's something different to do. Sit back and enjoy the next couple of hours. It was fun to do, and I hope it's fun to watch. We certainly had fun doing it. Alrighty, we'll talk to you soon, and until then, enjoy your legal vices.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Fair and Balanced. Holy cow. Sorry, my light's in the way. Holy cow. This show is going to be, we might get shut down by the government. Who knows? We don't know what's going to happen. Right now, Legal Vices said that he was waiting all day, literally all day, at his computer, waiting for this to start. As soon as he clicked the link to jump in on the stream, his entire internet went down. So I don't know what's going on over in Korea, if they've caught wind of what's happening, but we're waiting on him. Don't worry though, it's gonna happen. We're just gonna figure out and see what happens. But let's get off. Oh, really quick, if you're new to my channel, welcome to Fair and Balanced. This is not a usual nightly stream that we do. Normally we're covering the news, but on Fridays we like to have some fun. We normally have like our Friday fluff, but Legal Vices dropped into my DMs and was like, hey, Legal Vices, also known as Jeff, dropped into my DMs and was like, hey, I saw that you do some like alien conspiracy stuff and we should totally do a show together. Him and I used to listen to Art Bell. If you guys ever listen to Coast to Coast, I've said it on my channel many a times. Conspiracies entice me just because, I mean, who doesn't like a good conspiracy, you know? Granted, I don't have my tinfoil hat ready, but if you have yours, go ahead and put it on because this is going to be a totally different kind of a show. But again, if you are new here, welcome. I am a news anchor with over 15 years of experience in the media industry. And as always on this show, I keep things sassy, feisty, honest, and of course, fair and balanced. So with that being said, let's get to our first super chat. And our first super chat is somebody who I wouldn't consider you a troll. I think you are more of a guide when it comes to this stuff. The first person to super chat me on the alien stuff. If you guys weren't aware, when I got on my whole alien shtick, I got a super chat from a man named Mike who said, I work for Lockheed Martin. I've seen these things before. I assure you, these are not of another kind. The government, you wouldn't believe what the government has in store for all of us. So with that said, here he is, Mike Morrison, $100. I love it. Can't wait for this show. P.S. Finally was able to send my info to you on Instagram. Okay, for sure. I'll definitely check it out. But yeah. So as we're sitting here waiting for Legal Vices, and hopefully he said, and I'll even read you the message. He goes, okay, this is weird. Seriously, no joke. I've been sitting at my computer for an hour waiting for this. I literally just clicked on the link to join StreamYard to talk about this conspiracy shit, and the entire internet in my house just went out. Give me 5 minutes. If something doesn't happen, I will just sign on my phone. So that's probably exactly what it is. They're going for Korea first. Look what the cat dragged in. What's going on, buddy?
Well, I wish I had the answer to that question.
Did you spill your mojito on your keyboard or something?
No, honest to God, here we are. We were going to talk about this weird shit today.
Right.
We're going to be talking about conspiracy shit and, what the government's not telling us and things like that. I was literally sitting here waiting for about an hour doing shit on my computer. I said, oh, it's 10 minutes to, I better just click on the button and hang out backstage. The instant I clicked on the join, the internet in my entire house went out instantly.
Wow.
And I've spent the last 25 minutes going to the main server box in my house, unplugging everything, plugging everything back in, and Yeah, even turning my computer off and on about 500 times.
Wow.
And it ended up with I had to make an emergency phone call to the phone company, who's also my internet provider, and get them to do a remote reset on my entire house.
And were they like, you doing conspiracy?
Yeah. That was wild. I have never had this experience in the 7.5 years I've lived in this particular house.
That's crazy. Absolutely. Well, we're glad you're here. Sorry it happened, you know.
And if
Do
it
you
was
at
a
least
big
have your drink with
conspiracy,
you? Do you at least have a drink with you and stuff?
no.
Oh, okay.
This may or may not be a gin tonic.
Perfect. Well,
At
with
10
that
o'clock in the
said,
morning.
I want to give you a complete, wonderful opening. So hang
Okay.
tight. Here we go.
Warning. What you are about to watch may make you question everything you thought you knew. Viewer discretion is advised.
There it is. I had to give it to you. I don't know why that intro gives me chills every time.
Even if the government didn't want me,
Even
I'm
if the
here
government-
now.
You're here. Jeff, Legal Vices and Fair and
Hey.
Balance. We're calling this Conspiracy Corner because, man, is there a corner of the internet that is not covered enough? It's this one. I feel like.
Well, it was all fun and games until 25 minutes ago. Now shit's getting real.
It's getting real. Okay, so let's get some background here because I think we need to go over exactly how you got into this whole lifestyle and how what kind of brought you with conspiracies. How did you get into it?
Well, as I bumped my camera up, which apparently was knocked down in my fits of rage.
What?
Yeah. How I got involved in all of this. I mean, this might be part of the discussion. I had a very, very weird and unexplained situation when I was 4 years old. It was before I was 5 because it was in the first house I ever lived in, and I remember it. Me and my best friend who lived 2 doors down from me, we were walking just kind of around our houses, and this was 48 years ago. Well, 49 years ago now. I remembered very distinctly as a child looking up into the sky, and there was 3 points of light in broad daylight.
Oh, wow.
In a triangle pattern, just sort of up there. And for some reason, I mean, what the hell does a 4-year-old child know? Not much, but I was scared and my friend was scared just by these lights. And what does a 4-year-old know? And it was weird. Went home, told the parents. We both told our parents, of course, they're like, didn't believe us. And so I mean, that was always something that was in the back of my head. And it sparked this. But then it was about 15 years ago. There was my silly little hometown has like a news archive thing that they occasionally do on the only newspaper in town's website. And there was an article about the anniversary of the light sighting. And so I got validated decades after by this article that was in the not our paper, but the paper in the next town over about this light incident that I saw when I was 4 years old. And I was like, holy shit, I'm validated.
Okay, so set the scene. You guys were just outside playing. Where did you live at the time?
In Logan, Utah, which oddly has a lot. Utah has a lot of odd experiences. There's a lot of odd things happen in Utah. You've got the Dugway Proving Grounds where they carry all the shitty stuff that the CDC doesn't want to touch. You've got, Area 51 just over the border in Nevada. Skinwalker Ranch is in Utah.
Oh, God. I forgot about that.
Yeah, Skinwalker Ranch is in Utah. If you want to get into the Indian burial ground stuff, we have several tribes in Utah. Utah is named after the Ute Indian tribe. So there's a lot of stuff that goes on in Utah, surprisingly. Bigfoot sightings. I mean, It's a good place to live because it's out in the middle of nowhere. There's no people.
Well,
And
I mean, well, as far as people, you do have the Mormons there, but I feel like they look the other way at this stuff. They're just like,
yeah.
nope, Joseph Smith never talked about this shit.
Actually, he did, as a matter of fact. But
oh, really? Did he?
well, it's one of these. We're not the only planet that God created. We're not the only inhabitants of the universe, kind of a thing. There are. Yeah, it's. So yeah, that happened when I was 4, and then I was always into monster movies and things like that as a kid growing up. And then when I was like 12, 13 years old, I discovered Coast to Coast AM with Art Bell.
Yeah.
From Pahrump, Nevada. And I literally listened to him or his successors, and then back to him, then back to his successors, going back and forth until he died. Was it 4 years ago?
Yeah, 2018. Mm-hmm.
And I mean, that was how I would go to sleep at night, because he would go all night long. Mm-hmm. And I would just turn that on the clock radio next to the bed and just listen to it until I fell asleep. And I respected, as we were talking about earlier, that he would give anyone, even if he knew they were batshit crazy, he would give them a platform, let them say their mind, and treat them with dignity and respect on a topic that the vast majority of people thought was complete and utter bullshit. But Coast to Coast was the #1 overnight talk show forever.
Yeah, and actually it still is. I was watching old, like they on their Coast to Coast AM YouTube channel. The title's like From the Vault, and it's Art Bell's old shows that they're bringing forward. And you're right, he's very nice to everybody. And there was it's like, I think C Goody now is the guy, or not C Goody, that's one of my mods, but it's something Goody.
Yeah,
is the new guy that took over for him. But he's even very nice too. But you hear, like, there was one that I was listening to where it was a guy who, and this one was weird. It was where he was a former CIA operative. He was a former government, and then after, like, a former government official, he started as a police officer. And now he would interview and counsel people that dealt with alien encounters, and how he had, like, one guy that was an officer that had like a thing put, like, in his wrist here. And he's talking to me. He's like, so what did you think would happen? How were you able to figure out that the tracking device was in you? And this guy's like, yeah, he's like, in these tracking devices. And I guess he counsels also a lot of other people that have had, like, operations done on them, allegedly. And there was this one guy that he had a tracking device, and he was like, it's not a tracking device. They're listening to you. You need to get off the phone right now. And sure enough, the next day, the government was at his house, had a whole search of his property, because he, like, met up with him in person and let him know. It's just crazy stuff like that. And you're like, there's no way. But then you hear some of this stuff, and I don't know. But my path into conspiracies, I guess I wouldn't really call it conspiracies, but I've always, since I was a kid, have loved ghost stories. Like, I've always loved ghost stories. And when I was, like, a young reporter, and even, like, when I was an anchor too, I would, during Halloween, I would have, like, a weekly thing where I would go on ghost hunts with like the local ghost hunters associations or whatever. And I actually had an experience where I actually heard a ghost in my ear. It was confirmed by a spirit box, who then I was talking back and forth with. And I have this all on camera, so you can see all of it. And I actually felt him sit next to me and put his arm or his hand behind my neck.
Goosebumps.
And I was always a skeptic, always. And there was even a point too, for those that are in Michigan, this is when I was an anchor in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and it's like, oh gosh, the Grand Old Inn or something like that. But it was a place where Al Capone stopped. And it was a brothel and a bar, when brothels were allowed then. And it was the ghosts that haunted there. There was a prostitute that still haunted there. And it was Al Capone's accountant, who was like a creep. And
could you tell if the ghost was male or female? Did it have a vibe
for sure.
to it?
Oh yeah. And so there's this booth in the corner of the restaurant, and they say that it was Al Capone's accountant sits there. And they say that back in the old days, the prostitutes said that he would sit over in the corner and pick out what girl that he liked, and he liked blondes. So I'm sitting there, and I'm kind of being a smartass, because like, oh, and I'm with the whole like crowd, or with a crowd of like, a ghost hunters and stuff in Michigan, because a number of groups wanted to get in on it because they're like, hey, free TV time. And one guy had a spirit box going, the other guy had an EVP going, and then another guy had another EVP going. And so I'm like, okay, so where are you? And we hear nothing. And then I'm like, okay, where, did you used to sit here and check out the girls? What girl do you want tonight? And just really being an asshole. And then I finally go, okay, fine. What do you like about me? And then the spirit box goes, blonde. And I'm like, and then I was asking, what were the other questions that I asked? Oh God, there was another. Oh, I said, are you married? And he said, no. I mean, it was just so creepy. And then it was like, just when I was getting ready to get up, I felt a hand on my leg, literally push me back down. And then I felt a hand go behind my neck. And like if somebody was like to go like, like put their arm around me. And I was like, that's it. We're done. Investigation over. We're good. And then they have to do this whole like thing where they have to bless you so that they don't follow you home. Yeah. And I'm like, this is nuts. But yeah, so I like the ghost story stuff. And then also the aliens. But yeah, I got hit on by a ghost. Mm-hmm.
That's I mean that's fascinating. I mean, I've had a few ghostly experiences in my life as well. It's I believe that everybody is psychic to a certain extent.
Yes.
And I mean, not in the mentalist Long Island, medium shit, where you're in a room with like 70-year-old people. There's someone with an E in their name. And they talk to, me, says this 80-year-old woman. You had your mother has moved. Yeah, like 50 years ago, bitch.
Did you ever see the SNL one? The SNL one that
no.
she did, where
No.
she's the Long Island medium, and she goes, okay, all right, does anybody have an uncle here named Sal? Raise your hand. And it's like all of them raise their hand. And she goes, okay, all right, I think, did somebody choke on a meatball? Anybody choke on a meatball? And they all keep their hands up. And it's just that's how she does it. So yeah, I totally understand what you're saying.
Yeah, the mentalist approach is a very fascinating thing psychologically in and of itself. How you can pull things from people's minds just through observation. But when it's just the blatantly like, telling the 80-year-old woman that she knows her mother's passed, like, your mother she was complaining about back pains. Was there something wrong with her back? Yeah, she was 112, bitch. That kind of shit. And again, if you do legitimately have that gift and you charge people shit tons of money for it,
yeah,
burn in hell. That's a gift that's given to you by whatever, God, the universe, earth, whatever. And you should be using that for the betterment. But my family, both sides of my family are weirdly what's the word we're going to use? Weirdly
Catholic? Are you Catholic? I'm Catholic.
My mother's side of the family is all Catholic. Irish and Lithuanians.
Okay, yeah, mine was Polish, Russian, Italian, and Irish. So Catholic through and through. But yeah, to answer that question.
Sensitive, I guess, is the word we'll use. Both sides of my family are very sensitive, but in different ways. My mother's side of the family, they're very empathic, very intuitive, kind of prescient. I mean, weirdly, my older brother was killed in a drunk driving accident back on New Year's Eve in 2000. I guess, no, it's 1990, New Year's Eve, 1996. So it'd be just before going into 97. But my mother, in her journal, wrote eons ago when he was a very young kid. She said, I just know, my brother's name was Tim. I just know Tim will not live very long.
Wow.
Yeah, and the aunts and uncles were all having dreams about him being sick or having problems before like in the weeks leading up to the accident. And of course, nobody told anyone because, you don't talk about shit like this in polite company.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, especially like around Christmas time or, those weeks leading up to when it happens. Yeah, it is weird, though, how some people and I used to think it was women's intuition, too. Like my mom, like, could always tell, like, where I was and where I wasn't supposed to be. She could like sense it, you know, and that's why I was like, okay, mother's intuition. But sometimes women, they say, are very more empathic than men are. I don't know if it's our nature, but
I learned that the hard way. When I was 9 years old, me and my friend, we stole one of my mother's cigarettes that she had in a pack in her car, and we walked about 3/4 of a mile down the road to the train. There was like some train tracks at the end of a dirt road. That's how big my town was. You say the dirt road, and everybody in the neighborhood knows exactly where you're talking about. Went down to the train tracks under the bridge that was next to the stream, and we surreptitiously smoked this cigarette and just about died. Being 9 years old and all. And this was years later when I was talking about what a good little child I was to my mom and how isn't she happy I didn't give her any problems, by which I meant never got caught doing bad things. And she said, well, I don't know how good you were, because I know that when you were like 9 years old, you stole one of my cigarettes, went down to the railroad tracks and smoked under the bridge.
You're
Are
you sure it wasn't your friend that told his mom who told your mom? Were you ever able to figure it out?
No, I mean, they moved. I mean, there's just no explanation for that. And that was how very, very much how it was with her. She was the kind that if the phone rang, she would just pick it and go, "Hey, what's up, Joan?" That was kind of her. You know, she would like know who was calling, or she would think about someone and they would call. And you know, my sister, again, you know, my sister found herself in a bad way as a young girl, and she couldn't bring up the courage to tell my mother. She called my mother at work, and my mother was running an ice cream and yogurt shop at that place that she owned. And my mom just to this day said, I just know. I just knew. I heard the phone ring, and she picked up the phone and said, "You're pregnant, aren't you?" And my sister freaked out. My mom said, I just knew who was calling and why she was calling. It was weird. My father's family sees dead people. They're like sixth sense people.
Really?
Yeah.
That would freak me out. I could understand hearing, but seeing them, you know, and even when I saw The Sixth Sense, I was like, oh, I would not want to be that kid. You know, that would be awful.
Yeah, no, I'm glad that I'm more of the sensitive side from the mother's side of the family, because I don't want to see dead people.
Okay, so what are stories with those people that can see dead people?
My father's oldest sister, her husband and my dad worked for the same road construction trucking company, hauling road equipment from point A to point B, road construction equipment. And they had a project that was from Utah. It was in Oklahoma, I believe, somewhere around there. She called my dad in the middle of the night one night and said, her husband, you said, you know, Quentin, he said, "Quentin's dead." And my dad's like, what the hell? You know, how did you find this out? She said, "Oh, he came to me." I said, "What do you mean?" And, you know, my dad is like uber skeptic. I mean, he believes in angels and mysterious sky people and things like that. But, you know, something real and down to earth he doesn't believe in. I said, you know, he came to me. He came to the foot of my bed and said, I've been in it wasn't an accident. He said, "Dude, I've gone, something happened. Don't worry. Everything's okay." And my dad's like, "Oh, whatever. You know, just go to sleep, rest and relax." And apparently 30 minutes later, the Oklahoma Highway Patrol called her and said they found his truck. He'd had a heart attack on the side of the road.
Oh, wow. God, it's stories like that just trip me up. That really trip me up, because then you always hear, like, you know, because they have those shows where it's like, you know, I died and came back or whatever, or other people that have seen stuff like that. And you're kind of just like, I don't know, but I don't know. I believe in it. I truly do. I think we're all connected in some way. But the thing that's just weird though is, like, once they move on, they know to go back, and it's just crazy. It's crazy. Now, I have a lot of people in here asking, they want to know about Korean ghost stories. Is that?
Oh, that's a thing. And again, like I said, I have had, I mean, anyone having a single ghost story in their life is one too many. I've had a lot of weird ghostly experiences.
Okay, so first, really quick to set the stage, why are you in Korea?
Okay, well, that actually ties into the ghost story.
Okay, here we go.
Being a good little Mormon boy, we're all kind of raised to want to go be missionaries.
Oh, you're Mormon?
Yeah, well, still on paper somewhere, yeah.
Have you seen Book of Mormon?
Oh yeah. Oh, that is
Okay.
hilarious.
Okay, because I say some Mormons like it, some of them don't, but I thought it was cute.
Hang around the ones that like it.
Okay,
You have
yeah.
to be able to laugh and have fun at yourself, as
Mhm.
some of us on the internet found out recently. But anyway,
So that's why you knew about Joseph Smith. That makes sense.
yeah.
Okay. Mhm.
So I can't. I put in my application to be a missionary when I turned 19 and said, "Hey, I want to do this for 2 years, which is all at your own dime, your own expense. The families pay for it. Total volunteer work." So I said, "Okay, let's do that." They came back and they said, "Well, we want to send you to Busan, Korea. Do you accept?" I said, "Well, let me get a map and find out where Busan, Korea is."
It's just like the Book of Mormon.
Yeah, exactly. Well, first of all, let's find out where Korea is.
Yeah.
At that point, I thought it was somewhere down around Hong Kong, but I was wrong.
Mhm.
And so I came here, and fast forwarding through the rest of my life, I did 2 years here. I went back. My university had just formed a sister relationship with Busan National University, and they were looking for someone to be a guinea pig to go spend a year and a half, 2 years in Korea as part of the exchange program. Oh dear, what do we do? My mentor and my advisor said, "Hey, I think I know someone that might be interested in doing that." So about 8 months later, I was back in Korea doing this exchange program for a little over a year. Went back, finished up my last year of university, took my law school test, entrance test, the LSAT. Came back here to just kind of hang around for a summer. Then I went to law school, and like the 6 months before I graduated, a law firm here in Korea offered me a job. So I came back, and I've been here permanently since '96. And
Wow. So basically, straight out of basically since college.
Yeah,
Or
right
since
after
since
law
your
school.
mission. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. So I've been. It'll be 34 years on September 21st. So
Wow.
with only law school and about a year and a half of university since I've been here. So that's
Wow.
how I ended up here. But the I've only see how many one, two. I've had 3 or 4 ghost stories here in Korea.
Oh gosh.
The
Okay. Here we
first
go.
one, the first one was when I was a missionary. Now I'm separating ghostly stories from demonic stories because I think they're totally different entities. We'll just talk
But
about the
that
ghost
sounds
story.
like you have both.
I've had 2 very demonic experiences in my life that were clearly not spiritual, ghosty things in any way, shape, or form. And I may or may not talk about those because I think the demonic stuff opens doors that probably shouldn't be opened. But we'll see it.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes. Which, like you were talking about with your ghost thing, you sort of invited it to happen in a serious way, like,
Mhm.
bring it on, bitch, rather than like these Zach Bagans, all right, come on, possess my body, in the mocking way. But
Mhm.
we were waiting for an appointment. Me and my missionary companion were standing in front of the doors of this church over in Masan, Korea. It was an older building. It was a 2-story building. It had one hallway on the floor, and the gym and the chapel were on the second floor. And there was the front door, a hallway with 5 doors on each, 5 rooms on each side, and then a back door. The back door had not been opened in like 30 years. It was locked and welded shut because people would come over the back fence and into the back of the church, break through the windows and stuff. So they just locked it and boarded it up. No exit, no entry. It's just a decoration of a door.
Mhm.
We were standing there talking, and we had a lot of deaf church members in that area because there was a big factory that employed deaf people. And
Okay.
construction companies that hired deaf people and got some tax benefits. So we had a lot of deaf members in the congregation. And their room was the last room on the hall on the left side. And if I knew I was going to talk about this, I would have brought out my journal entry that I wrote on that day. But my missionary companion and I were standing at the front door waiting for an appointment, who obviously never showed up because they never do. And while we were standing there, this little old lady in like white traditional Korean dress, which you would wear for weddings and funerals and other holidays and things. And old people just still wore them as holdovers from the ancient days. And she just, she would walk through the church. We said hi. She kind of ignored us. We thought, well, that was kind of rude. She walked down the hall and turned left into the room where the deaf members had their Sunday school classes and things. And we thought, oh, okay, she went, maybe she's deaf, so she didn't hear us. So we didn't feel too upset at that point. And Then 15, 20 minutes later, she hadn't come back out again. And we said, well, let's see if she needs some help. We went in there, dead empty, dead cold empty, nobody in the room. And there was literally one way out of that church, and that was right past us. She went into, and she walked right past us. And I knew nothing about Korean ghosts or anything at that point in time. She walked past us, dead silent, walked in the room, and never freaking came out of that room again.
And she was a full-bodied person.
Yeah, like, I mean, as substantial as if someone was standing next to it. Just looked absolutely like there was. I mean, we didn't think, oh, here comes a ghost. It was like, oh, here's a grandma. Yeah, she's walking in the church. Okay.
Wow.
And I told a Korean friend, and he just went, oh, that's a ghost. What do you mean? Said, oh no, all the Korean ghosts, they wear the white traditional dresses, and most of the Korean ghosts are women. Excuse me.
So it's a thing here.
Yeah. I mean, Koreans are very, very kind of in touch with spirituality, with spiritual things. I mean, ghosts are just kind of things that, they have all the ancestral worship things and rites. Their Thanksgiving Day is the day where you remember your ancestors. You go to their graves, you clean their graves, you pour them some soju, some booze, and pour it on the grave so they can drink it. You leave food outside for their spirits to come and eat, that kind of thing. They're still very, very spiritual people by and large.
Okay, so they leave food out. Has anybody ever said that the food's been gone?
Well, cats, rats, and other things, but it's
okay.
I mean, they're not actually expecting the spirits to show up, but they do. Yeah, it's like,
I don't know if it was like a Santa thing, where like the kids
it's the milk and cookies,
yeah, exactly, okay,
yeah, or like Jewish people leaving the chair for Elijah. He's not going to show up to dinner, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So there is that.
Let's hear the demonic one. That one is interesting. Well, and also too, why is Korea? Okay, so you're saying that Koreans, that again, is it because they're so spiritually in touch with that like that's maybe why they see ghosts, or is it just that there's more of a history there, or what do you
Koreans
think?
will tell you that their history is 5,000 years old. Shamanism has always been a part of Korean culture. They have, back in the old days, everybody had Greeks, they had Zeus and they had Odin and Jupiter, and everyone has their pantheon of gods. The Korean gods are nature gods, mountain gods, river gods, stream gods, things like that. So there's always been this animism, is that right? Animism and shamanism and things like that, where it's just been, Christianity came to Korea about 130 years ago. So before that, it was Confucianism and shamanism. That was it. Mm-hmm. So it's the introduction of proper religion is only 120, 130 years old. Mm-hmm. And so it's just the way they've been through the generations.
Wow. All right, the demonic one. Because I'm not going to lie. So I'm in DC, and about 15 minutes away. Well, about 15 minutes away from me is the stairs where The Exorcist was filmed, where the priest goes down the stairs. Yeah. And before I leave DC, I'm actually going to go and probably take a TikTok where I run down it or something. I'm not on TikTok. But what all the kids do. You. Exactly.
You just have to run down the stairs.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so that's another one too. Because a lot of times in these ghost shows and stuff, they're able to figure out, very quickly. And I've always do you remember the little old couple where they were like the demonic people? The woman looked like she was straight out of the 1800s. She just died not too long ago.
Well, the ones that the Conjuring movies are, the one that the Conjuring is based on. Yeah, the Warrens.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yes. And because there was a couple of the shows, not so much ghost adventures, but oh God, there's one.
Elizabeth Warren, that was her name. Yeah.
Yes. There's one, there was one show that I recently got hooked on, and it's called The Dead Files. And let me tell you, this show is just all kinds of great. First, you have two people on the show. You have one that's a psychic. And then you have one to
make a note.
It's on Discovery Plus for those that don't know how to use Discovery. Yeah, The Dead Files. But hang on, it gets better. So the way that the show starts out is it's two people. There's a psychic and a former New York cop, or a New York homicide detective. Mm-hmm. And the whole way the whole thing starts where it's and it's all these ghosts, and she's like, She's like, "Hi, I'm Amy. I'm a psychic. I see dead people." And you're like, "Oh shit, just got real." And then and then it goes, "Hi, I'm Nick Cavioli. I'm a former New York City homicide detective. I know that every house has a history." And then they're like, "We don't see each other the entire time until the very end." And it's like he goes and does the whole backstory on like the house to see if there was like anybody that died in it or was it buried on an Indian burial ground. And then she
Hmm.
goes at the house at night to like talk to the spirits, but they don't talk the entire time until the very end of the investigation. And
Hmm.
it's just you see these two crackhead type people. But the whole intro is just the best with the "I'm Amy, I see dead people. Hey, I'm Nick. I'm a former detective. We're gonna figure out if there's ghosts in the house." It's
Nice.
just a great
I'm gonna
yes.
watch it. It's now on the
Great
list.
show. A great show, yeah. But yeah,
Uh,
so but either way, she's really good though. She like does get it every time.
hmm.
And even him, like there's one where he's like, "Oh, so and so used to live here." And he used, like there was one where he was like, "Oh, he used to play really bad tricks on people." And he was, and it was, he did something where he made the paper for, whether he was found like hurting cats or something, like killing cats. And then she'll be there at night and she'll be like, he's disgusting. He does weird stuff with animals. Oh, he is not right. And then they meet together and then their
Hmm.
stories like come together where it's like the history with the psychic. But yes, but she can tell immediately. Immediately she's like, "This is demonic." And then she kind of steps back and she's like, "Okay, we need to get like a demonologist in here." But
Just
that's
like
the thing
Pawn
is,
Stars. I know a friend that we can call. Let's
yeah,
let's
exactly.
have them come in and assess our demons.
Yeah, exactly. Uh, but that's the thing is where they can tell, she can tell though right away, like this is demonic. We need to get out. And I was just like, whoa, like how can you tell? So that's where I'm interested to see
Hmm.
your story and how you know.
Well, again, I mean, for me, it's just like a basic. Like with the ghost stories, I had one kind of similar to the one you told, um, but there was nothing threatening about it. I realized like there was nothing threatening about the ghost experiences I was having, and eventually, like this one that was kind of following me around was just sort of like, oh, this is okay. There's the ghost again, kind of a thing.
Ugh.
It was more of an intriguing, just kind of fun part that every 6 months or a year something would happen. I go, all right, there you go. But the one experience, and I, because of all of this that we're talking about, my family, my experiences, and I was always like into the paranormal thing. And when other people are reading books about horses and Hardy Boys and Nancy Drew, I was reading like occult books and really getting into like the witchcraft things and the
Oh,
demonology.
we would have been the best of friends as kids. Wait, are you a Scorpio or are you a water sign? Because they always
I'm a
say that.
Cancer.
Oh, I'm a Scorpio. Okay, it makes so much sense now because they say we're the weird ones that like this shit.
Oh yeah, so you're reading Black Beauty and I'm reading Black Mass.
Exactly.
Eh,
I'm learning how a serial killer thinks. What about
yeah.
you? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And there
Oh,
was a
that's too
great
funny.
book called Tales of the Unexplained. When I was a kid, it was talking about all
Mm-hmm.
sorts of things like the Marie Celeste, where the entire crew of a ship just disappears and the only thing people find is the dog still on the deck, but there's still food
Oh.
on the tables and things. Or
Mm-hmm.
this was back when the face on Mars had just been discovered. What's that all about?
Mm-hmm.
And just like all these unexplained things. And then Leonard Nimoy eventually did a show based on those kind of stories on it may have been the Discovery Channel. I think it was called The Unexplained. But I mean, that kind of stuff had always fascinated me from when I was a kid, and I think I got a little too involved in it.
How
It was.
so? How
I mean,
involved are we talking?
I mean, it was just way too much research into way too dark things that 10 and 11 and 12-year-olds shouldn't be into. I think.
Yeah.
I had a friend that had a really bad experience, he said, with a Ouija board. So I mean, that kind of stuff I never got into the mechanics of it. I never
Yeah.
got into playing with Ouija boards, performing rituals or spells, but I would read the shit out of things about
Oh,
them.
me too. Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
And then even not even that too, like another thing that I got really into as a kid, just to like learn it, just because being a Catholic, you learn all this history of Catholicism, but then you're like, oh, like there's Mormons, there's Scientologists. Those are the ones that are like, yo, Yo,
J-
guys.
go back and edit those words out of this video later.
Exactly.
That was actually one of
Yeah.
my major law school theses. It was titled "Assault on the First Amendment in Free Speech by the Church of Scientology."
Yeah,
Where
yeah, because they did
it was a
that.
paper
Yeah.
on suing them into silence.
Wow.
Allegedly, not saying you do, just saying
allegedly.
I've heard. Yeah, I've heard.
but then there was other ones like that. I started getting into like weird cults and stuff. Like the religion
Yeah.
like opened the door, and then I'm going to my mom at like 10. I'm like, Mom, what was Jonestown? And she's like, why are you asking me these questions?
Yeah. No, exactly. And you know, I don't think a 10-year-old should know who Aleister Crowley is. You know, but I did. and I think I opened doors again that shouldn't have been opened by just me being way too interested in the topic. And for me, I mean, I have to check, but I think Poltergeist came out when I was 12 or 13. And my mother and my friend's mother thought it would be a great idea to drop us two preteen kids off at the Poltergeist and let us watch it. That scared the holy shit out of me. The movie Poltergeist freaked me. I mean, I've watched it since, and now it's kind of laughable at the cheap, shitty graphics. But when it came out in the theater, that was scary as hell. And then there was all the accidents they had on set. You find out later people died, and people died after filming. And there's like the curse of the Poltergeist movie, where pretty much everybody that had anything to do with it died mysteriously.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, because the one for me, I remember as a kid, I remember my older brothers watching it, and it creeped the hell out of me. And now you go back and you're like, oh my God, like the CGI or whatever they did was The Exorcist. With the girl where she's like, you know, and, and her head spins, you know, and you see it now and you're like, oh my God, that is so fake. But as a kid, I remember seeing it and it was just like, whoa.
Well, that's one of the only movies that have been banned in the United States, and that was banned for years. Yeah. Really?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, just because of that. Yeah, it was one of the banned movies. That and Clockwork Orange, I think, were like the two.
Oh wow, I had no idea. Probably because I was born after the ban was lifted.
Yeah.
Just kidding. Just kidding.
Well, I wasn't. Well, The Exorcist figures into this first demonic story. And again, I don't know how much I really want to tell because this seriously messes me up. But I saw the movie Poltergeist. It scared the shit out of me. And I had a room in the basement at the bottom of the stairs. I was like the kid that was the kid under the stairs. You know, I was the Harry Potter of the family. I know we had an unfinished basement, and right at the bottom of the stairs, you turn right, you go into my room. And it was so unfinished that I didn't have a light switch. It was a little pull cord attached to the light to turn it off and on. But hey, it was my own room, and I loved it. And at some point, I broke the string. And so to turn my light on and off, I had to screw the light bulb in to get it to go on. And then wear some heat protective gloves and unscrew it to turn it off.
Wow.
And so I was sitting there reading on my bed like I always did before going to sleep. And then suddenly the light went out in my room, and I'm like, damn it, the light bulb burned out. So I went to unscrew it to take it out, and it almost fell out in my hand. And you had to turn it 8 times to get it to screw in. And this thing had somehow unscrewed itself, but you think, well, yeah, whatever, maybe I didn't screw it in tight. Thought nothing of it, was just annoyed. It happened again the next night. And then, then I started to kind of go, I distinctly remember putting it in so that wouldn't happen. And then a few nights later, like in the unfinished living room, it's carpeted now, but back then it was sofas on concrete with some throw rugs in front of it. I heard this sound that I can only describe as like bouncing a wet tennis ball on concrete. It just kind of this thwack, thwack, thwack sound. And I heard that in the living room, and then you run and turn on the lights, thinking maybe like one of the cats was into something or something. Nobody in the basement. A couple nights later, heard the sound again. And then I started just feeling weird. I did like feeling cold. I know that's kind of the cliche thing, with the temperature drop, but literally feeling cold in this room in the summer for no reason.
Are you sure you didn't live at the Amityville Horror House at one point? That's what this sounds like with the kid.
That was the investigation that launched the Warrens to fame. Was the Amityville Horror they were involved in?
But that's what it sounds like with the kid.
And then one night, I thought it would be fun to read The Exorcist.
Oh God.
Yeah. Because I was kind of stupid while this was going on. And I mean, this sounds ridiculous and stupid and crazy, but hand to God, it happened. This was back when Polo was just becoming the great super perfume or cologne for men back in the day, excuse me. And so I had a gigantic bottle of Polo cologne on my dresser. I had my Sony Walkman with the cassette player Walkman. Discmans weren't around then. I had my cassette tape on the bed. I was reading The Exorcist, and I left the room to do something. And when I came back, the light was on, but I mean, it was kind of dark. The room just looked darker and felt weird. The batteries were out of my Sony Walkman and on the floor in the corner. My Walkman was open and sitting on another corner of the bed. The Polo bottle had fallen over and broken on the concrete floor. And if you want like 300 milliliters of Polo being broken in your room, that does not go away for an extremely long time. And that freaked me the hell out. And I said, I'm done with this room for the time being. And I slept on the sofa that night, where the noise was coming from, the tennis ball noise was coming from. And then
I remember that. I forgot about the tennis ball.
And then that night, okay, I've got my goosebumps going. See, I'm not like, you can see, I can't see goosebumps on camera. Got the goosebumps going because that night I'm just laying down and facing the bottom of the stairs, the entryway to the bottom of the stairs, which is the stairs, turn left, living room, turn right, my room. And so I was just kind of looking at the bottom of the stairs, waiting to go to sleep. And I don't have the words to describe what this was, but it was pitch black in this basement anyway, but it was like blacker than black. It was like in the darkness, you could just see more darkness.
Oh God.
And goosebumps. And then
how old were you again at this point?
This would have been 13, 14 years old.
Oh God. Yeah.
And it filled the entire door frame. And then there was the red eye looking things up near the top of the doorway. I screamed like a bitch, ran into my brother's bedroom, he'd moved out by then, ran into his bedroom, shut the door, freaked out. And my parents wondered why I camped in the backyard for the rest of that summer.
Oh, did you? Did you tell your parents what happened? Like, did they get
I told them
a demonologist?
Oh no, no. And this is going back to what I was thinking before. About how everybody has this ability. Everybody is psychic to some extent. I mean, I told them about the incident with The Exorcist the day, and they were like, "Oh, come on, like get out of here. You're a weird kid. You've always been a weird kid. Now go away." But both of them come from these kinds of families, and my mother was much more sensitive. Dad was Mulder to mom's. I mean, dad was Scully to mom's Mulder. But even mom didn't believe me about this, and that upset me. So I never told them about this other experience. I just said, "Hey, it's summer. I don't have school. I'm just going to enjoy camping in the backyard for a while. Set up the tent, please." But yeah, so they did nothing. They didn't believe me. There's only one person that believed me, and that was the friend's mother, the friend who I'd gone to see the poltergeist with, because he was having weird experiences in their house too. And his mother was the one that believed me. And you said, yeah, and she was a hardcore Southern Baptist, and
they believe this shit, like, yeah.
Yeah. And it was we know you're the weird little Mormon kid that's probably going to hell because you're not a Southern Baptist, but go pray, do all this, and she was the only one that took me seriously, and I love her to this day for that. So that was the big demonic experience. The feeling was so different than anything else. It was just dark, it was cold, and it just felt utterly wrong. I have no idea how to describe it other than that.
Wow.
So how's your day?
Well, damn. Like, okay, so I was thinking of actually showing. I'll show this because to maybe lighten the mood a little bit, so you can come, have a come down from that. I have.
Are these the guys?
This was my ghost hunting experience.
Oh, okay. I thought this was
is
the
like
show
when
you were
I'm
talking
like,
about.
yeah, I'm like, well, this is when I was a morning anchor in Grand Rapids, and this was this guy next to me. He was our investigative reporter, and he loved doing this kind of stuff. And which, by the way, thank you for sharing the story. Everyone is like loving this. Oh, hey, actually, really quick too. Actually, before I get to that, let me go through a couple of super chats here, just to get some of these out of the way. Oh, here we go. I just left Jeff's replay, our replay of Sarah's interview because I need to know about the aliens. But side note, Seth sabotaged Russ' set allegedly. What was Sarah's interview with the aliens?
I know that Sarah was the deal we were watching last night when you were in the chat, the interrogation of Sarah. But we were talking about, we're going to come here to talk about aliens, not Sarah's aliens, just Sarah's and aliens.
Oh, I was like, oh, is she an alien too? Got it.
She could be. Mike, she kind of looks like one.
Mike Morrison, I second the crazy Utah stuff. I feel like Utah, Nevada. I was a news anchor in El Paso, and I will say, I feel like the reason why a lot of stuff happens out west is there's a lot of, it's just open. It's just much bigger than you see here on the East Coast. And number two, there's a lot of military bases out there. Like you said, even Area 51, El Paso, you have the Fort Bliss. And then you also have White Sands, which is not far where the atomic bomb was tested. Like there's some stuff there. There's New Mexico. There's Nevada. Like you just have all these areas out west there, very desert-like.
Yeah, well, I forgot to mention Utah has Fort Douglas. Salt Lake City has Fort Douglas, which was an old 1800s military post, and it's considered one of the most haunted sites in America.
Oh, really?
The Ghost Adventures, they did a deal there. Not Ghost Adventures. Ghost Adventures is Zach Bagans. The Ghost Hunters. Ghost Hunters did a show there.
Okay. Because Zach. Sometimes I like Zach Bagans, but then other times I'm like, you're kind of a tool bag.
He tries too hard, but
you wouldn't believe what happened.
And as always, we have 800,000 cameras around, but something just happened right off camera.
Exactly.
Or we don't get anything on camera, but I have a feeling. Get out of me. But
yeah,
in full disclosure, I'm going to the States next Saturday for 2 weeks, and on probably around the 20th, I will be visiting Zach Bagans' Haunted Museum in Las Vegas.
I forgot he has a museum there. Yeah.
My sister goes there every time she goes to Vegas, and I haven't been there yet.
I haven't either. And you know what? Also, like Vegas is a city where did you see Lake Mead? How it's like, it's drying up and they're finding bodies in barrels. And because everybody's also talked about how Lake Mead is super haunted. And it's like, well, gee, I wonder why.
Yeah.
We've got about 50 barrels of like old mobsters popping up, out of the sand. Duh,
Yeah.
So yeah, it's Vegas is another one. Definitely another one. Julio again used all my tinfoil on meth. Need a hat stat. Oh, Julio. Well, you're going to be up for a while and you're going to love this show. Ember Fox, found you this morning through Jeff's channel. I listened to your stuff after and you seem pretty badass. You should look up the Sphinx of Egypt. There's hidden tunnels. Please do a makeup tutorial. All right. For sure I will. It's so funny. I always tell this story where when I was in local news, I used to do a live stream before the newscast on Facebook of just doing my makeup and getting ready for the show. I had curlers in my hair, everything, and I did a whole getting ready. The minute that I sat at the desk and I would still keep Facebook live on when I would start doing the news, people just stopped. And I was like, that's why the news is dead. Nah. Nobody cares.
But, and anybody that's coming here because of my live stream things, if you haven't subscribed to Fair and Balanced, get down there and do it right now. You're insane if you haven't done it. If you're here, you like it, so subscribe to this.
And I have Legal Vices tagged in the description, so make sure you guys go and sub to him because I gotta say this. I loved I like how you do things so differently. And I mentioned this in the chat before. I don't know if you heard this or not, but I told them how you told me that you were a radio DJ for 5 years.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, there's a reason why I think you stand out a little bit different from some of the rest, is because you know how to do a show, you know how to entertain, you know how to do kind of a lot of that stuff. And I think it's cool, you know, two broadcasters.
That is a very big compliment coming from you. Thank you.
Well, you're welcome. Ember Fox again. In my opinion, it's not a gut feeling when you feel a certain way. It's discernment from God protecting you. Maybe. It also could just be Catholic guilt. We don't know.
Well, I mean, again, go ahead. I'll read through these.
No. Keep going. Go on.
No, I was just going to say that, tying this all back, and I know I've referenced it a couple times, but I have like severe borderline ADHD. And so I'm definitely let's talk. There's a squirrel. I'm definitely me, but we all have this ability, I think, whether you say it comes from God or nature, whatever your personal belief system happens to be. We all have these things. We have all the stories of the little children, talking to angels, or, the kids with the invisible friends, people that, I was talking to grandma last night. I think we all have this gift, but being humans and being rational and having this logic system, we program children to not trust their minds, not trust their hearts, just to ghosts don't exist, monsters don't exist, none of this happens, there's no such thing as demons. You program them to not trust their feelings. And I think you literally program this out of children rather than encouraging it.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And that's where I think also too, you have just that innocence with kids. Like, I don't even think my little brother remembers this story. I remember this vividly. I don't even know if my mom remembers it either, but I remember there was one time where it was like maybe a year or two after my grandma died, and we used to call her Grandma Cookie. She was very Italian, very, very like big personality, and she was the Italian woman, talked with her hands, very, the matriarch of the family. And then she married an Irish guy, which back in the day, many don't know this, being in Chicago, her being Italian, marrying an Irishman in the 40s was like her marrying outside of her race. Like, it was a really crazy
my Lithuanian grandmother married an Irishman in Chicago.
Yeah.
So
it was a big no-no. It was a big no-no. But the thing is, what they had is they were both Catholic. But yeah, you were going to say?
No, I was I'm not going to say that. Just go ahead.
You're like, never mind, retract. But no, yeah. So my grandpa was your typical Irishman, very quiet, very reserved, like pushed all of his feelings down and just kept him there till he died. Like they're just very reserved. But my brother was maybe like 6 or 7 when she died. And I'm one of, like 25 grandchildren on one side. And he never really got to know her, but I want to say it was maybe a year and a half later that he was sitting doing something and he was talking. And I said to him, I was like, who are you talking to? He goes, oh, Grandma Cookie. And I was like, Grandma Cookie? And I remember telling my mom, and she was like, oh, he's just pulling your leg. And I was like, no, I think he's really talking to Grandma Cookie. It's with kids where, and maybe I think with her, it's just she's busy. And she's like, oh, you're just going nuts, move along. But I really think he was just sitting there playing with his toys, looking down, and he's like, yeah. And like he was having a full blown conversation. If I told him this, he probably wouldn't even remember it. But I remember this vividly. And I really think she was, well, he's like 30 now. He'd probably be like, I don't remember this. And I'm like, oh, but I do.
Yeah.
It was just weird. Yeah.
And again, it's just, we program kids to, instead of encouraging them to go, okay, well now tell me what she's saying. Instead of encouraging this, we're like, just get rid of your invisible friends, which is, especially if you look at it in the Catholic perspective, there is literally a pantheon of saints that you believe in and pray to, and you look to for guidance. But you have a kid that's saying, I'm talking to grandma, and they're like, get the fuck out of here. You have this logical break somewhere between the heavens and our actual existence.
Exactly. I totally agree. And yeah, it is one of these things where a lot of these ghost stories too, you always see it with people where it's like, oh, I didn't realize there was a ghost here until I saw my kid talking to somebody. And then they're like, all right, now we'll call ghost hunters, like you just don't know.
Yeah.
But here, what was it? Jeff, you said you're a lapsed Mormon. Don't throw us actual Catholics under the bus. There you go.
I had the upbringing. My father was people say, what was your religious upbringing? My mother eventually converted to Mormonism just to get my dad to shut up, because my father, he was Mormon, then he became a Sunday golfer, and then he eventually started going back to church. But when I was a kid, 4, 5, 6 years old, I had a lapsed Mormon father, a non-practicing Catholic mother, living next to a Church of Christ minister. So he took me just to the vacation Bible school stuff in the summer, and my parents like, "Oh, you want to take my kid for 3 days? Have at him,
We love Jesus. There you go. Yeah, exactly.
So yeah.
Thanks for the fun stream, Farron from Tiffany, and again to thank me. Make sure again you sub to Legal Vices. I think next week or the next time we do this, we'll go on your channel to keep it fun.
To let me lose subscribers this next. Well, we didn't sign up for this shit, but this will be fun.
No, honestly, I think you don't realize. I think people love this stuff. They really do.
We'll replace them with the cool ones from your channel.
Well, and they were like, "Oh, we're gonna lose subs," and I was like, "I don't think any. I think if anything, I'm gonna gain people." Because here's the thing: is we're talking about this stuff. We're not sitting here being like, how do I say it? Like, it's fun to talk about, and it's not like we're sitting here being, like the government and we're, and we're trying to start a movement. It's just, hey, it's just kind of fun to talk about.
The colored index cards with the strings tied to them on the bulletin board.
Exactly. Yeah. Now over here from last week. Exactly. Yeah. We're not doing that. So,
or the ancient aliens guy, this stick has an engraving on it. It must be aliens. That guy.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, okay. We're good. Thank you. All right. Dyatlov Pass incident. Discuss, please. Mind blown. Or Dyatlov Pass incident.
Either way you pronounce it, I have no idea.
I'll look it up after this. But yeah, we'll
another thing to add to my list of things to look at.
Dyatlov.
How is that spelled again? Dyatlov. All right.
Past incident. We will Of course, Google's just leaving it blank. Nope, you can't look at this. It's really not doing anything. Or Dyatlov Pass incident. Ooh. Okay. We'll look at that next. Stand by. Okay. But next one here. Emily Rose was not possessed. She became an epileptic because of vaccines, and her epilepsy meds made her crazy. They were recalled because of harm. Maybe not.
But I'll tell you, that movie was a hell of a good movie.
Either way, great movie.
But have you looked at the original German Emily Rose exorcism videos?
No. Did they actually have the videos?
Yeah. Well, they have the audio, but they have pictures but they have the audio of the actual exorcism. It's creepy as F, man.
Maybe we'll look at that after too. Who knows? We don't know where the show's going to go.
Yeah.
We don't know. I can start this because Farrah, did you do something with your hair? Yes, it's my beach waves. I scrunched it, as I call it. I'll do a video on it, I promise. New subscriber to this channel. I love scary stories. Thank you, Jeff Marloka.
You're welcome.
Love it. I have questions. Thank you for your sticker. Love your Britney picture there. Love it. And then I didn't watch, but I saw a vid pop up of a group taking the Annabelle Raggedy Ann doll out of the case overnight. Yikes. Warrens had left instructions for the doll to always be in the case. What?
And that's the thing is people have seen the Annabelle movies, but the actual Annabelle doll was a Raggedy Ann doll.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah, the actual Annabelle doll was Raggedy Ann.
Real? Oh wow. And then they made a thing where it had to stay in the box.
Yeah, that was the Warrens. It was just like in the Annabelle movie. They said, "Do not take this out of this box."
Oh, I thought they told the doll that.
No, yeah, they told the people that had custody of the doll, don't ever take it out of the box. Don't let anybody touch the box. Just leave it alone.
Well, and these were probably frickin' TikTokers for all we know now that did this. There you go. There you frickin' go. I swear to God, kids these days. So yeah, let's go back to, I'll show you this really quick. But yeah, so the guy here on the right of me, he's an investigative journalist and he loved this shit. So I'll show you some of this really quick because there's
And what year was this?
Oh God, this was in 2017, I want to say. So a while ago. Yeah, like 6 years ago and like 50 pounds ago. So I brought out Brent Ashcroft because not only do I love him, it's no copyright because it's my own shit. We'll get to that later because there is a question about it, and I'll let you say what your piece, even though you're going to address it this weekend. But yeah, coworker, he just completed a ghost hunt himself. So we just arrived here. Kind of, what are your thoughts walking in?
Well, walking in, you can't help but just think of the history of this place. I cannot wait to go upstairs and see what this place looks like up there, because this place allegedly was a brothel back in the day.
Allegedly.
So it'll be interesting to go up there and see exactly what that looks like.
For anybody.
Okay, so here are the ghost hunter people. I promise you, the girl
and they
right there,
always look like that.
Yes, the girl on the right is not a ghost. She's an actual person.
Was she like gothed out with some foundation there, or was she just naturally that pale?
I do not know.
They
and like
always
I said,
look like this, and it's such a discredit. Wear a suit. Just like look like you're not a ghost hunter and be a ghost hunter. That's all I ask.
Yes. Well, then you got that, and then you got like Mr. Like I'm about to explore the Amazon or something. But yeah,
that's not a knife. This is a knife.
Exactly. Come on out, ghost! I dare you. Like it's one of these things where you're just exactly like, can we just like kind of look normal? But either way, they were so nice. It was a fun time. But so yeah, this is the booth that we're sitting in, is where this guy sat. Where it was what do you call it? Al Capone's accountant. But yeah, they go into it more.
God, that is beautiful leather.
Some sort of energy in their homes. They think something paranormal is going.
So that's my producer Matt asking the questions because we had multiple cameras going. So this is actually me taping because he loved ghosts too. So I was like, here, you do the opening interview. I'll shoot the camera, because it's like a series.
You want to help them too. Can you talk about that?
Right. Yeah. And our mission is for the private places, even though we do a lot of commercial places, but it's the people that are so distraught. It's those kind of people that our mission is all about. And we never charge. We never charge a private family for investigation or private reveal.
Can we just look at the little Ghostbusters logo right there? Jeff's like, what the fuck am I watching?
Do you think that, again, they may be legit ghost hunters, like I say, but do you think that adds or detracts from your credibility?
I know, right? You've got patches of all this stuff and then just a giant Ghostbusters. I literally, oh God. And then he had these lanyards. He did have his headphones there so that he could listen, because he also was listening to EVPs and stuff. But
do you know what's this beige thing hanging from his lapel? That's what I've been looking at. Do you recall?
This thing?
Yeah.
I don't know either. I am not. I don't know, but it's maybe he pulls it out and shows us. I can't remember. It
looks like he'd pull it out and show you.
I literally
have a clock.
I literally have not. Oh yeah. Okay. Yes, it is a clock. Yes, it's a clock.
Why he would be wearing?
Why like that?
What? Why does he have? Why does he have? Oh, I'm trying to read what I have on the big 32-inch monitor. I'm trying to read what the Ghostbusters thing says. It's Blip City.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Blip City Ghostbusters. Oh, yeah, and then I never realized this too. Like I said, I have not watched this since I.
Oh, he's got a cross. He's got like crucifix hat band. Rock on,
yes!
Dude. Was that what you were just gonna say?
Yes. I've never seen this before. I never even noticed when I was there. But yeah, he's got multiple crucifix hats. I should sell those on Etsy or some shit. Okay, here we go. But yeah, so in case you didn't know, they never charge.
I think they have enough problems already. They don't need any extra burden.
K2s, what are the type of recording devices you have?
K2 reads electromagnetic field. This is actually a tool that like electricians use. An electrician might bring a piece of equipment like this in, be sure that it's not bleeding electric field out.
Clearly, Farron should stay in front of the camera. She can't keep it in focus.
Because what it can do is cause nausea and cause hallucination.
Holly, no.
If all of a sudden that thing starts lighting up,
this stuff's weird.
That there's something.
Have you ever seen you've seen these before, obviously, since you watch like the ghost hunting videos.
Yeah.
But this stuff.
The electromagnetic fields are pretty weird, and that's one thing I like, how you can either use it to say there's something here or disprove it by saying, okay, there's some static electric field here, because we have there's an ATM machine just outside of the entrance to this housing complex where there's something wrong with the electromagnetics of the place, because you walk in and you just get dizzy. I mean, you can like feel the electromagnetic field in the place. You feel queasy, you feel a little bit dizzy, like a little lightheaded.
Yeah.
And this is a good thing for testing that, as well as where it's not there and suddenly it is there. It's a cool little
I'm not gonna
device.
lie though. This does look a little where did it see? It does look a little bit of like $10 EMF reader. How much are these things? All these things I've never even noticed before. So yeah. So
It sort of looks like, it says USA, but it sort of looks Soviet.
yeah. Are you sure?
Nearby that's causing that to generate a field. The oldest piece of equipment that we use is just a digital recorder. It picks up so much that we can't actually hear. So, we're asking questions, even as we're sitting here talking. If I'm recording right now, and I'm sure Wayne has been recording all night, and we may very well get some kind of interaction.
No, I'm not gonna lie. That guy that was just talking, he was actually super cool. Like there were certain times where he even like would look at the little Gramp and he was like, I don't know. Like he was like super chill. And he was with the group where they had all the different spirit boxes, which are very expensive, mind you.
Yeah.
At least ghost hunters tell me they are. They could have easily been lying to me the entire time.
This one has infrared night vision built right into it. Then, of course, we have FLIR that we use.
Oh, sorry.
It's just a little bitty thing that attaches to your phone and turns your phone into a thermal imaging camera.
So now I guess you're qualified.
I didn't know you could get a FLIR attachment for your phone. That's pretty cool. This is like 5 years ago.
Exactly. Yeah. Lord knows what they have now.
All morning long, we are telling you about our ghost hunting experience at Nick Fink's in Comstock
Nick
Park.
Fink's,
And when
that's
you
what it
hear
was
the
called.
History of this place. Maybe it's not surprising that it's haunted. Well, Fink's prides itself on being GR's oldest bar.
Here's the history.
It opened back in 1888 as a bar, and according to legend, also a brothel. Now, it's also been a post office and a hotel.
By the way, there are some times where I can still catch myself with also a brothel with the news anchor voice.
Yeah, we called them pukers. You're the guy that sounds like he's vomiting on his microphone. They were pukers. All the hits, all the time. That kind of guy.
Yeah, and I didn't really have it that
Jack,
much.
but I'm not. Yeah,
I didn't really have it that much, but but there was times though where I could hear it, especially in Michigan, where my Chicago would come out a little bit more. But sometimes I still do hear that. Oh, it was a brothel. Like Farron.
It's rumored that mob boss Al Capone frequented the bar, with the corner booth being his favorite spot.
By the way, these guys look legit. Like,
yeah.
I'm just looking at
Peaky fucking blinders and Charlie Chaplin in the middle there.
Comstock Park leaders also say that Ernest Hemingway stopped in the bar when he was headed up north. We spoke with Fink's manager, Lori Marvin, who says that she too.
What is a child doing in a bar?
He's Irish. He's Irish.
Case closed. There we go.
Experienced paranormal activity at the bar.
Working here with me, and
okay, this is
we were checking to make sure
this woman actually was like, I was a skeptic, I don't like it, I don't believe in that stuff. And then she started getting sightings like the minute that she took over the bar. She started as the manager and then took over as the owner, and her stories actually were, you could tell she was no bullshit.
Was in the building, we were at the end of the night. We went into the ladies' room, which is over there, and I went to leave, and I put my hand on the door.
My recreation.
And there was just like it wasn't like a person. It was just like this light that went underneath the door. And she and I both went, at the same time. And she said, "Oh, Mom." And she said, "I saw it before we came in here, and I never thought you would believe me, so I didn't say anything."
Yep, we never think everyone is going to believe us, right? Well, in our next half hour, we're going to share with you some of our EVP session from the upstairs part of Finks, which is not open to the public anymore. And we're going to share some of the old recordings that the Grand Rapids ghost hunters have gotten there. If you can't stick around, we're going to have the entire thing on 13onyourside.com after the show.
Now, see, I just like Nick Finks before because of the old bar atmosphere and the cheap drinks, but now you get a little something extra, apparently.
Yeah, sometimes you get a little tap on your bar stool, and
this actually happened too.
There. That's another little experience that people have had. Everyone, they have a lot of regulars that go, and every one of the regulars has had something happen to them. So it's pretty
Which
cool.
is true.
Oh my gosh. Well, in case you needed a place to go to tonight after the kids are done trick-or-treating.
There is an EV.
So the other thing too is my co-anchor there, Dan, fucking hates ghost stories. And when I was like, let's do this, and he's like, please don't, no. And I was like, come on, do it with me. And he's like, no. He showed up at the place and was like, took one look and he's like, I'm not doing this, and went home. So that he was
respect to him. Yeah.
He hated this. He hated this whole thing. Yeah. And then there was one other thing too. You had the manager, and then there was a couple of people, I think they might show up in the interview, where they said that anytime that they would come over, people would tap them on the shoulder and stuff. And it's supposed to signify, they say it's supposed to signify like the brothel of like the women, like who would tap the men on the shoulder. Because it only would happen to men. It didn't happen to women. Allegedly. Yeah, but now we're back with now we're back with her.
There was a few of them that I got.
Will you ghosts like to say hi to Lori? Shout it out, please.
Those kind of EVPs that we get, we use those to try to narrow.
I didn't really believe that one. Those were the ones that they sent me, and I was like, I didn't hear shit.
The spirit boxes come with a lot of confirmation bias. Mm-hmm. You want to think a random noise is a certain word, and you listen to it 15 times until you hear the word you want to hear.
Yeah.
To me, it sounded like it said butter. You know.
The waitress asking, anybody need anything? Butter. Yeah. Oh, and that was the other thing I forgot. When I was showing the recreation where it's in the bathroom and then they had the door closed. If you folks knew what we actually do, or not, shoot, I got rid of you. What we actually do in the news sometimes.
You're not the first woman to do it.
And let me tell you, because again, like I love the ghost hunting stuff. And I was like, okay, I'm totally going to recreate the way like the ghost movies do, or the ghost shows do it, where they show like exactly what they saw, but where it's black and white and it's all grainy. So here I'm like, okay, my producer was on the other side of the door, like waiting, like trying to back up so you couldn't see him close the door. And I'm like, because I took the sound out and I'm like, okay, here we go. Turn. Okay, shut the door. You know, and that's how they recreate this shit. So literally it's easy. It's easy as anybody could do it, folks. This chick did it. And then just put a black and white overlay.
Throw it in a little bit more. So we would take those, and we actually went upstairs, and then we continued trying to speak with them just to see if we can get any more answers that would give us a better idea of who.
So this is the upstairs brothel.
I think that every time we come in here, we're getting closer.
And again, he's good. I never noticed his little crucifix hat. He looks like Indiana Jones, like the Indiana Jones of ghosts or demons. You know, this little grandpa. Oh God.
Being able to answer those questions.
And that was pure acting too. Like, oh wow, what's going on here?
Yeah, folks,
we can ham it up. Trust me.
No, look scared again. More scared this time.
Yeah. Now I will say though, this upstairs creepy AF. Like they actually still had the original what's the bed frames, like the old iron like bed frames. They still had them there, like with no mattresses and shit. Like none of the top had really been redone. They were going to go room by room, and they were going to try to make the top part like a bed and breakfast. And I was like, why? Like why?
Those are things that they creep me out. Old beds, wheelchairs, and like old wheelchairs and things like that. They just kind of freak me out for some reason.
Exactly. And yes, Aaron, really, all these years I've been believing Zach Baggins. Yeah, folks. But I will say, oh, yes, that's it. I just saw it. The Crocodile Dundee spirits. Truly. All right, so we sat in here. I will say this part. is we sat in here for an hour and a half asking all kinds of questions. And when I hear the ghosts, like when they do behind the scenes and they say like, oh, we were sitting here for hours and hours and hours, they really, that they are trying to just get something. And then you have to go through, listen, and it's a daunting task. It's crazy. But
the young lady with the hair, she looked, what was the name of the Harry Potter ghost that lived in the bathroom?
See, I never read Harry Potter. You're asking the wrong kid.
Well, I was forced to see the movies because I had a child. But there was someone you never even saw the movies.
I fell asleep like in the first 30 minutes.
Oh,
I'm not your typical. I hate high fantasy. I
you.
like war movies, action, and then like drama.
Moaning Myrtle, that was her. Yeah, she looks a lot like the girl there. This Moaning Myrtle that lived in the bathroom of Hogwarts.
Hang on. God, this cough. Hang on. Moaning Myrtle?
Yeah.
Oh, God. Oh, my God. You know what? We're doing this. We're doing this.
Nice.
Yeah, I see it.
Especially the one, yeah.
Good. I can't. That was a little bit creepy.
By the way, my greatest literary review of the Harry Potter novels was by an author named Orson Scott Card, who did Ender's Game and a bunch of other books. His review of Harry Potter was big book, lots of words.
Honestly, yeah.
That was the review. Big book, lots of words.
Big book, lots of words. And now she's being called anti-trans and all this other stuff. And it's like, really?
And she wipes the tears with $100 bills, you know.
Yeah. It's like, have you seen the shit that she's made? I won't even go there. I won't even go there.
Are you here now? Can you come in this room, please?
Michael, do you like it here?
It's a brothel, of course.
Oh yeah, that was the thing is that one of the prostitutes got pregnant and had a kid from one of the mobsters, and I guess the kid might have died from scarlet fever or something of that sorts when it was around, and the kid haunted the second floor and would actually like go back and forth between rooms and talk to the other women and stuff. Like the things kids saw then. Could you imagine today? Oh God, everyone.
Michael, will they tell you what to do?
Come right here in the middle of the room where there's lots of light.
How many living people are here?
Welcome to local news.
I heard something in the distance.
Footsteps.
Yeah. Is this building still
Okay,
operating?
here we go. This is where I'm like, fuck this night. I want to.
You seem to be pretty bored. Yeah, you seem to be pretty bored.
I'm like, we need to get shit going. We need to start popping shit off. And so I'm like, all right, let's just
Hotel lady doesn't want to be here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's a brothel in the afterlife.
And I'm like, this thing, you've heard of spirit boxes, right? Where it's like,
yeah,
it's loud. That's why I was just like, oh my God, that's so annoying.
Do you think we're pretty? Answer wisely.
Could you repeat that, please?
No, yes.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I like shit my pants. I was like, wait, what?
Go back. I want to hear that again.
Oh,
I need to boost my volume.
Do you think we're pretty? Answer wisely.
Could you repeat that, please?
You can hear it real quick, but it goes yes.
Yeah,
because it's all the static that comes in.
Are you serious?
It came right through that loud and clear.
I just heard it.
I did too.
Keep talking to it.
What do you like about me?
Blood.
Wait, was that a guy or was
Very.
that wasn't from the spirit box? Was it?
No, he was repeating
Okay, because that was
it,
way too clear.
Yeah, because
But
you
could
hear
hear
him. He goes, it goes blonde, and then he says blonde. Like you can hear it, and then he says it. He's telling me after what it's saying.
What time is it?
Okay.
Blood.
What do you like about me? Are you married?
You could hear it.
Yeah.
Do you hear it's like a whisper? It's like, no.
Yeah.
And it's the spirit box. It's so creepy.
It's, I feel tingles like all on the right side of me.
What time is it?
2:50.
I'm so pissed at this point because I'm like, it's fucking 3. I'm out of here.
It's one side of my entire body. It's just all like, you know, like that pins and needles feeling. And there was even a point where I felt like he had like his hand, like he went underneath for like my hair.
Mhm.
I've never felt that before. That's weird.
Now I'm a believer.
Exactly.
Do you have a message for us?
Aaron.
So
I can't see these things without thinking there's one episode of The Simpsons where Homer got a hold of one of these. He's like, "This is my voice." That's all I can think of whenever I see these meters.
Yeah, but so here's the craziest part. My name, as you know, Farron.
Oh yeah.
They said my fucking name. They because they thought at first they thought the entire night my name was Aaron. And I did say that after this was all done on live. I was like, yeah, by the way, that Aaron actually was Farron. They just thought my name was Aaron. It's Farron, but you can hear it. Mm-hmm.
Do you have a message for us?
Aaron.
So Aaron.
How many living people are here in this room right now?
Okay, so I'm not gonna lie, I'm actually really creeped out. Like really creeped out. I thought I'd be funny and be like, oh, like what do you like about me? And when he said blonde, my heart or like just my stomach just.
So yeah, so that was the whole experience, like I said, that I had where
cool.
and where they said my name and then blonde, I was like, see you later, guys. Never coming back. Yeah, so
Imagine,
but,
if you will.
Imagine. Now, okay, really, I want to make sure too, because I don't know how long you have to stay, but
It's Saturday morning. I got hours and hours and hours. I'll be here until you push me out the door.
Well, because I was going to say, usually I lead people up to Ricada, because Joe's not live. So if there's something that you want to pull up a video on or whatever, however, I do want to do this one thing too. I want to look up Emily Rowe's real pictures. Because that shit.
And while you're doing that, I'll tell you, I had the greatest vacation of my life just before the pandemic hit. I haven't been home in 3.5 years. It was May 2019. I had an amazing vacation. My sister and I, and again, it was the first one where I went back to the States completely single and unaccompanied because I'd been with my ex-wife for 16 years and then girlfriends take them back home. And this was just like, I don't have to do anything for anybody. I got nothing planned. And we just hang around the house. And I looked at my sister's into all this shit too. So we have fun. And she's the one that's making me go to Zach Bagan's museum next week. But we're going to go, what do you want to do? And like, let's just go to haunted places. Let's do a bucket list run. So we did this like week-long bucket list run around the Western United States. We started out from Logan, Utah, where we live. Then we went over to Estes Park to the hotel where Stephen King stayed at and had the experiences that made him write The Shining, the Stanley Hotel. So we went and stayed. We tried to get into Stephen King's room that he stayed at, where he saw the kids. His son saw the kids in the hallway, the twins in the hallway, and he had the experiences. But they were like, no,
wait, his son saw the kids? I didn't realize that was a whole thing.
Yeah, no, Stephen King wrote The Shining after literally being the last guests in the Stanley Hotel in Estes Park, Colorado, before they shut it down for the winter. And his whole family had really weird experiences there. And then he wrote The Shining based on his experiences there.
Oh God, I never knew that. Yeah.
Yeah, and the hotel staff is like, no, the Stephen King room that rents out like 8 months in advance. So we stayed on the floor above that. And of course, we ran around the hotel trying to do our own little investigations in the night. They have a ghost.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have a ghost tour that they'll take you on and show you where the things are. They have lots of props from the movie too. It's pretty cool. But
what about that hotel? Why is it haunted? Was there?
It's one of the most haunted places in America. I mean, it's just it's been around for 150 years. It was the big swinging 30s, and lots of people were there. And it's just there's been deaths. Maids have died, and children have died, and there's been murders and suicides and things in the hotel. And it's a great place to go. So we stayed there, and then we went to Deadwood, South Dakota, and
really
because I'm a huge fan of the Deadwood series on HBO.
Oh hell yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so we stayed at Seth Bullock's hotel, the Bullock Hotel, and it's like really cool because you can walk down the street and see the Gem Saloon and all the, and it's really cool. They've got they actually have a street like this is the bar where Cody was killed, where Buffalo Bill was killed, and this is
he was
where
killed in South Dakota?
In Deadwood, yeah.
Okay. Then I'm confusing it because when I lived in El Paso, there was it's the last
Wild Bill Hickok. Sorry, shut up, Jeff. Yeah, not yeah.
Because I was gonna say there was a prison in Mesita. Oh God, is it Mesita? Mesita, New Mexico,
yeah.
And you can see the little jail cell where he stayed, or where they had him captive. Yeah, but like I said, I don't know exactly
Buffalo
where
Bill.
he.
It wasn't
died,
Buffalo Bill. It was Wild Bill Hickok.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
And that's where the dead man's hand, the poker hand, comes from, because that was the hand that he was holding when he got shot in the back by a guy. And wow, my mic gain just went up for no reason whatsoever. But yeah, it's in the where they caught.
I love how this is only happening to you, and I'm over here like ghosts and shit, and you're like, my internet's going out. Everything's happening.
So we went there. We took the ghost tour through Seth Bullock's hotel, and we stayed in Wild Bill Hickok's room. That was pretty fun. And I literally want to retire to Deadwood. It is the most beautiful, sweetest little town. It's just gorgeous, except it's probably under snow 11.5 months a year. But and then from there we went to Mount Rushmore just to see that, because it was on the way. Big bucket list check off that there. And then on the way through, we stopped at Devil's Tower in where they filmed the Close Encounters of the Third Kind, the big mountain where all the spaceships landed on Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Oh wow!
And we went and looked at that, and that was cool as hell too. So we just did this bucket list.
This is the last time that you were here. Was the last, this is what you did. Oh wow!
Yeah, see, so we just did this bucket list tour.
The one thing I will say, because I mean that sounds awesome to do that kind of stuff. The places that I don't want to go though, I'm not gonna lie, because I just feel about them, are like the penitentiaries, or no, actually, I'm not the penitentiaries. I'm sorry, the insane asylums. Those ones, I'm like, I'm not gonna gamble. Like Alcatraz, totally want to go. I wanted to go there when we were in San Francisco as a kid, and for some reason that week it was closed. Okay, I'm just gonna take these Emily Rose pictures off my freaking screen because it's starting to creep me out over here. But no, it was the Alcatraz stuff. Here's a question from Shannon. Ever been to Villisca House in Iowa? I've heard about this one.
I haven't. I've never heard of it.
Standby. I think that's the one where it's here, if you want another great series, it's the Viscala Axe Murders.
Axe murders are always cool.
Yeah, those always bring an audience to a ghost show. It was here. Let me show you really quick. And I don't mean to like totally monopolize it with ghost stories, but I'm sure this isn't the last that we'll be doing these kinds of shows, because they're a lot of fun. Where is it here? I remember seeing, The Dead Files did an episode on this.
Oh, cool.
As well as Unsolved, BuzzFeed's Unsolved Supernatural, with the two guys. One's like a skeptic and one is actually like loves ghosts. This one though they thought that they found the guy who did it, and they think it was like a wandering like cab driver, but it was where I believe basically an entire family was killed by some deranged dude. And then they went through, but it's in the middle of Iowa.
Oh, geez, come to the axe murder house.
I know, right? Like, come on down,
Let's lean into that. Yeah.
Exactly. But and it's they say it's haunted, and there was just all this stuff that happened. But yeah, there's a number of places in Iowa as well as Missouri as well. Like Missouri, you have the was it Jesse James, where his house they say is haunted, where he got shot and killed. There's just a lot of in the Midwest. I feel there's a lot of these crazy ass stories that happen because the Midwest was always like a passer through to like for people to get to the West. And those that stopped on the way, they always say like either ran out of like food or whatever, like, not like it was Oregon Trail, but like, they just ran out of stuff and they're like, we'll just stop here. Why not? We snow, whatever, we'll deal. But you get
and
some
50 million acres
stories.
of cornfields are the Midwest Lake Mead.
Exactly. But you get a lot of crazy stories. But yeah, I do remember, I believe even the Dead Files did one on this axe murder house. There's just a lot of crazy stories in the Midwest. And I think a lot of it too was there were a lot of, those were the kind of the days of like the mobsters. Like you had like your Jesse James, your John Dillingers, like where John Dillinger, a lot of people don't know. I actually did an investigation into the prison in Michigan City. Because that's haunted, because that's where John Dillinger was and where he stayed. But then also the last bank that he ever robbed was in South Bend, Indiana, where I was a news anchor as well. And they show where the cop, so in that he robbed a bank in the middle of downtown South Bend, and he actually killed 2 people. He killed a cop and a citizen. And they say that cop still walks the streets at night of South Bend, Indiana, guarding.
Cool.
Yeah. And we stayed out there all night one night, and we didn't see anything, but we did see a lot of mist happening. And they say that mist is like the thing that tries to bring it, So yeah, it's just crazy. But
while we were talking, that it reminded me. I was thinking of things around my little hometown of Logan, Utah. We had the Ghost Hunters do one of their early episodes at Fort Douglas in Salt Lake that I mentioned. The Bigfoot Hunters did a Bigfoot Hunters episode. There's been quite a few Bigfoot sightings around my hometown. Ghost Adventures did one, I think 2 or 3 seasons ago. We had this old nunnery up the canyon from just 20 minutes up the road from my sister's house. It's right at the mouth of Logan Canyon. You go up there. It was called St. Anne's Retreat. It's where they would send the nuns for their retreats, and the young ladies apparently in the old town that found themselves in a bad way, they would send them to the nunnery. And the legends are that there was a lot of abuse happening there, and that the nuns would get pregnant or whatever, and there's some stories of dead babies in wells and things, and that is like the haunted spot. Hey, there's the Logan Temple right there.
Yeah, I always like to see on the maps where they are in like kind of relation to like the big cities. So you're seeing it's north of Salt Lake City.
Yep. It's 25 miles south of Idaho. To Salt Lake, it's an hour and 10 minutes.
Okay.
It's like 25 miles south of Idaho.
And then we're seeing here.
That's the hometown right there.
It looks pretty big.
There's about
sorry.
It's that's where university, where Utah State University is. There's about 70,000 people in the city, and there's about 100,000 when school's in session.
Okay. Well, y'all got a Home Depot and everything, so it must have not been too bad.
Oh, do we? Hey, that's new. Wow. Okay.
You got a Home Depot, Al's Sporting Goods, a Walmart, Logan Regional Hospital. Y'all are doing great.
Yeah, we got a hospital.
That's when you know you're making it.
My old house was actually right around where where this little green. It's like this. What is that here? The super.
This one.
Super 8 by Wyndham Logan. It's a couple of miles south of that.
Oh, by another Walmart Supercenter.
Yeah, we got 2 Walmarts.
By the Megaplex Theater?
Yeah, it's about 10 miles south of there is where my house is.
Oh, very cool.
That's where I grew up. Nobody else, because I can dox the shit out of that place now because nobody I know lives there anymore.
Yeah.
Nibley, that's my hometown right there. See where Millville is at the bottom. Nibley, that is my hometown right there. That is literally my hometown. You'll notice there's no buildings in that hometown. We got our first stoplight like 5 years ago, I heard.
Oh, wow. You have the Frost Farm, Little Wonders Learning Center, Ginny's Pit Stop, Green Guy's Lawn Care.
And right there where that intersection is, where the Little Wonders Learning Center, that's where the town's only stoplight is.
Wow. Let's confirm here. Here we are. There it is. Wow.
Yeah, there's the stoplight.
Wow. It looks beautiful though. Wow.
Oh yeah, it's gorgeous.
And okay, you said with Art Bell.
Yes.
You said Pahrump, Nevada,
Pahrump,
right?
Nevada. Yeah, Pahrump. Yeah.
There's a show on HBO. Oh God, what is it called? And it's about a local news station in Pahrump, Nevada.
Yeah, I've seen that. It's like aliens and stuff.
No. It's a show about the local. It's a show about the local news channel in Pahrump.
Oh.
Pahrump.
Oh no, I was thinking of Mars Attacks.
Oh.
Mars Attack. There's some bits of Mars Attacks that takes place in Pahrump.
It's called Small Town News. Small Town News, and it's the last locally owned TV station in the country, which is very scary. But I'll even show you. It's a documentary series that came out in 2021, which I'm actually kind of shocked by. But a bunch of us as news people saw it, and we were like, "Oh my gosh!" Like, this is the last locally owned news station, because us in the industry, and as well as a radio DJ, a lot of the towns owned their own places. And this is the very, very last one. And it's in Pahrump, Nevada.
And then they get those big 50,000 watt repeaters. And that's why you can pick up Mexican radio stations in Washington, D.C. Because they have zero regulations on the frequency and the power they pump out.
Exactly. Yeah.
But do they still have AM radio?
I feel like they do. And yes, that is also where you said the Bunny Ranch was, and there's a number of stuff there. Mm-hmm.
And this is one of my fun things. I brought this out. I always keep it near my computer. Is my official Art Bell retirement disc, complete with certificate of authenticity signed by Art Bell, with a CD that says "To Jeff from Art" on it. This was like all of his collections of some of the best phone calls and stories and things that he did. And I was going to play it, and then I realized my computer hasn't had a CD player, DVD player in it for about 10 years.
Do they make those anymore? Wait, okay.
Apparently
so
not. Yeah.
What are some of the tracks? Maybe we can find one on YouTube.
I don't know. It doesn't have a track listing on it. Shit.
Wow.
I remember there was one with some guy that was in a small plane allegedly flying towards Area 51, and he was on the air, and he mysteriously dropped off the air as he got close to Area 51. Mel's Hole is on there. That was a fun story about this guy that has a hole that apparently goes to nowhere, and you hear voices and shit inside of it.
Yes, and that wasn't that. There was one time too that somebody got they heard the voices of hell or something when they put.
Yeah, that was in Russia. They dropped a camera down into a giant shaft, and they heard like voices thousands of feet down.
Yeah. Let me see. What's this one?
Mel's Pit near Ellensburg, Washington. Claims of
okay, here we can just play this one really quick. I don't think it sounds like a computer talking anyway.
Yeah.
But this is
there should be some old Art Bell. There should be some old Art Bell actual tracks about Mel's Hole.
The Art Bell Mel's Hole. Like, well, first of all, why do you have that as your thumbnail? Some creepy dude coming out of a hole. Hang on, I have one here. Hi, Farron. Hi, Jeff. Glad to see two of my favorite channels collaborating. I work in the U.S. and haven't been back home since 2019. Also, can't wait to stay at the Westin on, how do you say that?
Haeundae Beach. Haeundae Beach.
Next time I'm in Busan.
Yep, that's my.
How do you say it? Busan.
Yep, the Westin Chosin Beach. I can almost see it from my house. So, hey, if you're here, drop a line. Get some drinks.
Have you seen Russia from your house? Can you see?
I've seen Russians in my house.
And I'm not sure how to pronounce because I can't read.
Oh, that's Yang Jung Gil is his name. He mentioned on my channel that he's been in the States as long as I've been here. We just kind of swapped places apparently.
Oh, and you can read that?
Yeah. It's actually phonetic, so it's not that hard. You can learn to read Korean in an hour. You'll just have no idea what you're reading.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, ain't that interesting, huh? Very interesting. Okay, so Mel's Hole Part 1. Bottomless Hole. Let's see if we can see anything on Art Bell. I know this just sounds all kind of crazy. The Danger Behind. Oh,
The funniest films of all time with Art Bell? No, that wasn't it.
Yeah. Grave, Mel's Hole, Art Bell, Archives.
Oh, there you go. Art Bell's
1.
Archives. Yeah.
Let's see.
Part 1 is an hour and 36 minutes long. Jeez.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, this is the whole show, probably.
Well, into the today is Thursday.
What year?
That ain't art.
November something. Thursday, November 14th.
Yeah, that ain't art.
Give yourselves a round of applause for being
those
smart
are lies.
enough to be here.
Those are straight lies. Yeah. Well, either way, this one I found that kind of does a brief.
Yeah, go for the short one.
According to an urban legend, an allegedly bottomless pit near Ellensburg, Washington. Claims about it were first made on the radio show Coast to Coast by a guest calling himself Mel Waters. Later investigation revealed no such person was listed as residing in that area, and no credible evidence that the hole exists.
Okay, so really quick, it was a guy that dug a hole, or it already was there?
It apparently already existed. It was just like this shaft into nothingness.
And also, Baldo Gagger, he is very provocative, but
well, that's actually pronounced Baldo.
Oh, Baldo.
Drex can fill you in on that. It is exactly what it's a dough for your balls. That's all we're going to talk about.
Well, no, actually, the other night he was feeding me all of these things from that I looked up on Urban Dictionary, and we'll never do that again, Baldo.
Yep. I learned things I didn't need to know existed.
Yep. The biggest one that really, I'm going to even puke just thinking about it, was leftovers. Oh, have you heard of that?
Yeah.
I love that at your age, you know what that means. And I had no idea. Zero idea.
It's because of Drex I know most of these things. I could have gone my entire life without ever seeing a picture of a Baldo. Don't do it. You'll regret it.
Hang on. Now I have to.
It's out of my hands. It's out of my hands. I
Baldo.
Told you not to do it. Does it raise the question why?
Yes. Why? Oh God, they have how it works. Step 1, make your balls hairless and lube. Step 2, stretch your baldo over your balls. Step 3, stretch over the spacer rings, insert into part. Oh God. Who thinks of this shit? Why? Wait, so you
Drex owns one.
Okay, hang it. All right. Folks, shut the door. Get the kids out of the room. Okay. Hang on a second. Because this is a fucking conspiracy, okay? Why? So wait, you're telling me that he inserts...
Yes.
That goes into your partner?
Yes.
Oh, God. Why? Why?
I tried a sex toy that lets you have sex with just your balls. That's a testimonial.
Yeah, and look at this shithead. Like, I did it. Look at this guy.
Here's my picture.
Yeah, here's the thumbnail. Oh my God! Wow, and then I just love this how it works.
We've got some AC/DC lyrics, yeah.
And then you have their merch representatives. What is
that where
this?
was that where the ghost investigation red-haired chick went? That kind of looks like her too. Like 5 years down the line.
These are the creators of it? How bad was your sex to think of this shit?
Or how good was it?
Okay. Can we just say here right now, if you have to go as far as to have balls bang you, that means he's got a little bitty itty or something. But this is just
oh God.
I have no words. I have no words.
Somebody commented and said, I think it's a gag gift. Well, I guess it could be a gag gift.
This is a conspiracy. I don't believe anybody uses this for sex, because if they do, we're throwing him down Mel's hole.
Maybe Mel wanted that.
That's what Mel's hole is waiting for, Baldo. And Drex can fill you in, and will if you ask nicely.
Lord,
I'd rather not. We're good. Great. Oh God, and okay. And here's the other thing that like just really creeps me out here too, really quick. This guy. This guy is all too much. I think I'm going to just have a stream one night about Farron learns about sex stuff. Because I was saying this the other night with who was it? It was the expert. It was a bunch of other people. Where, like I said, we learned what leftovers. We were doing like we were like super chat us the craziest stuff. And it was Alabama Hot Pocket, Pittsburgh Steamroller, like all of this crazy shit. And they just wanted the reaction of me reading it. Because I was like, hey guys, Catholic schoolgirl here, like basically done 2 positions my entire life. Like, let's see, like throw them at me, folks. And
we have. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
we have fun here with. Like, I have lots of Russian friends here, and they are so cool. And we'll go to the cigar club, smoke a lot of cigars, drink way too much, and then someone says, "I think it's time to play Cards Against Humanity."
Oh.
And so you play Cards Against Humanity, and then you get some super hot Russian chick going, "What is smegma?"
Wait, what is it? Wait, what? Magma?
Smegma. The
what is that?
The yeasty growth in foreskin and other crevices of nether regions that aren't clean, kind of smelly. Yeah.
Smegma?
Yeah. That's actually that's actually like a real term. It's not an Urban Dictionary term. That's like a real thing.
It sounds like magma, but worse now from what I'm hearing. I just can't get over this shit. What? Who? Why? Oh.
According to WebMD, so it's a thing. Smegma is the thick, white, cheesy substance that collects under the foreskin of the penis.
Okay. Cheesy. Cheesy. Oh, God.
It's the male yeast infection, basically. Staff in chat says dick butter.
Oh God!
You can't say dick butter. I'm sorry I did this to your channel, Farron.
No, you didn't. It was Baldo, and I walked into it. I walked into this Mel's hole. Oh God! Oh God! You know who should be here is Andrew from Legal Mindset too.
Yeah.
He probably would have a lot to say about this. Oh my God. And okay, here's another question. Why is Ryan Reynolds in the Baldo shit? Why does his picture pop up? Did I miss something here?
Wow, I don't even want to know. Please don't click on that.
Oh, don't.
We're getting into the spicy pictures.
Oh. And why is she on this? Like, oh, Dr. Terry Ball, D.O. Oh, God. Girl, you want to change your last name. Stat.
It's like Office Space. Why should I change my name? He's the one that sucks.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, God. Hang on. I saw somebody here. They said, Legal mindset has never seen a woman naked. I don't know. I think he's seen.
Oh, you scared me. I thought it said legal vices. I'm like, I beg to differ.
You're like, I have a child. Okay. But okay. Back to
where do we go
Mel's,
from here?
Mel's
Segue
hole. Yeah, Mel's hole. Here we go.
Mel's hole is, according to an urban legend, an allegedly bottomless pit near Ellensburg, Washington. Claims about it were first made on the radio show Coast to Coast by a guest calling himself Mel Waters. Later investigation revealed no such person was listed as residing in that area, and no credible evidence that the hole exists. The legend of the bottomless hole started on February 21, 1997, when a man identifying himself as Mel Waters appeared as a guest on Coast to Coast with Art Bell. Waters claimed that he owned rural property 9 miles west of Ellensburg in Catitas County, Washington, that contained a mysterious hole. According to Bell's interviews with Waters, the hole had infinite depth and the ability to restore dead animals to life. Waters claimed to have...
I do remember. Okay, I remember hearing about this where a guy said that his dog died and he threw his dead dog down the hole, which I was like, sir, proper burial. But threw the dog down the hole, and he said 2 days later the dog was up around walking and came back to the house.
Pet Cemetery shit there.
I've never seen that movie, but damn, does it look weird?
You should read the
Measured
book.
The hole's depth.
Read the book Pet Cemetery. Just read the book Pet Cemetery. Better than both of the movies that have come out.
Really?
And like Stephen King says, that is his scariest story that he's ever written, in his own personal opinion. That and he said he'd never thought it would be published. He'd never wanted to publish. He wrote it and like published it 17 years later or something like that. He thought that shit didn't need to be outside in the public domain. So yeah, read Pet Cemetery.
Hey, can you just tell me kind of like the TLDR, like the summary really quick? Because I've never...
Family cat dies. They take it to this old Indian burial ground and told not to mess around with the place, but they bury the cat there and it comes back a couple days later. Their only son gets hit by a semi-truck and they bury him there to see what happens, and things go badly from there on. The child comes back.
Oh, shit.
And that's pretty early on in the book.
Oh, wow. So, well, it sounds like a lot like Mel's hole, but the opposite.
Yeah.
Well, they bury it, but here,
more than 8,000 feet by using fishing line and a weight. According to Waters, the hole's magical properties prompted U.S. federal agents to seize the land and fund his relocation to Australia. Waters made guest appearances on Bell's show in 1997, 2000, and 2002. Thank you for watching.
Okay.
Like and subscribe if you...
Apparently, okay. Now, here's a question for you. Have you been watching anything about CERN and what's been going on with CERN?
I do not know what CERN is.
Oh. Okay.
I live in Korea.
Well, this is closer to you than it is us, which is really creepy. Yes. So here's Han. Look, if they're citing a podcast I learned about from Henry Zebrowski from last podcast on the Left Fame, I have questions.
Me too, about the comment.
Yeah, hang on. Look, if they're citing a podcast, I learned about it from Henry Zebrowski from last podcast on the Last Fame. I have questions. Not sure, but we'll try to figure that out. Either way, take a quick look at this.
Okay.
This is the whole CERN thing and what it means. I'm going to take a super, super quick bathroom break, but here we go.
3, 2, 1. Being unstable.
Excitement and relief as the Large Hadron Collider subsystems
the Hadron
whirl
Collider.
back into action, setting a new world record. Colliding its first protons again after 3 years of upgrades, faster than ever before.
Dream team.
Physicists and engineers have been planning this part of the experiment for 15 years.
We just had collisions at an unprecedented energy, 13.6 tera electron volt, and this opens a new era of exploration at CERN, a new chapter. Run 3 of the Large Hadron Collider will give us collisions.
Okay, I heard you say something. What'd you say?
No, I said, it's the Hadron Collider you're talking about. Okay.
Yes. and they
Weird
started
shit
it
happens.
up.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, have you seen Stranger Things?
Yeah.
This
I
is
still
that
haven't
shit.
seen the last episode, so don't spoil the last
No.
episode.
You know, I'm not gonna. Yeah. No, but I'm saying like this though is what it looks like in Stranger Things. Like this is
What happened? Did they talk about what happened in this? I haven't heard that anything happened with it, but I can see why.
Well, let's find out from this lady because she looks a little scared right now.
Higher energy than before, and also an amount of data equivalent to the total amount of data recorded in the previous 2 runs. And this, of course, will increase our opportunities for discovery or for understanding the fundamental laws of the universe.
This particle accelerator runs deep below the Swiss Alps, sending high-intensity beams through a 27-kilometer tunnel and smashing them together. It takes thousands of magnets to create a stable beam, squeeze it thinner than a human hair, and guide them round the ring. And these are the results. It's been 10 years since the scientists here discovered the Higgs boson, or God particle, which helped explain why matter
is that where the
takes
Higgs
on
boson was
mass
discovered?
to form
Okay.
stars.
Apparently, whatever that is. But there was a bunch of people in my chat that were saying, oh my gosh, like you have to look at CERN and look at this. And I was just like, CERN? What is this? And I was calling it I totally butchered the name of it because I had never heard of it before. I called it Collider.
a big Collider.
A big Collider. They're going to turn that shit on, the Collider. But yeah, it's Collider, Farron. Mm-hmm.
But it only opened up more questions.
The Higgs boson, of course, was kind of a holy grail to find because we knew it was there, and finally we managed to find it. And now there is a lot of work going on to study it. It's a little bit like you discover a new cave in a mountain, then you take a lot of time in order to explore the cave and to understand how this cave goes, if there are paintings, if there are no paintings.
But here's the difference, though. Is they're saying, oh, that's like discovering a cave and then trying to figure it out. No. This is you guys creating your own cave and trying to figure it out. Yeah. Am I right? If I'm wrong, let me know. They're saying this is going to go into a whole nother dimension.
Physicists hope it will reveal the secrets of dark matter that make up 85% of our universe, but does not absorb, reflect, or emit light. The data, which is open to the public for analysis, is streaming in. Already, scientists have discovered 3 new exotic quarks, the tiniest particles ever found. They exist for just 100,000th of a billionth of a second, and could give us answers about the origins of the universe and its fate. Charlie Angela, Al Jazeera.
I mean,
I want to know if there's weird experiences that people have had there. The Philadelphia experiment kind of things, or Manhattan Project kind of nuclear issues. Yeah.
Have you ever met anybody that has had some, or like okay. Let me get Coast to Coast is a paranormal podcast, and Last Podcast on the Left is a true crime alien theory podcast, and Henry is their most after dark member.
Ah, okay.
Mm-hmm. Now, have you seen the Bob Lazar stuff?
And Bob Lazar, I first became acquainted with him on Art Bell because he was a regular guest on Art Bell.
Really?
And, yeah. Oh, yeah. He and because they both live right there next to each other in Nevada. They were good friends.
So here's the crazy part: is oh God, what was folk chat? Let me know because I know that you'll come back. Or you'll let me know. There is a documentary, and the guy who just did the documentary was on Fox News last Tuesday, talking about UFOs and all that stuff. And he did an interview and a whole documentary with Bob Lazar on Netflix.
Yeah, that was a great show.
Yeah, okay, yes. So and I have some friends in the UFO community. I believe it's my friend Jamarl Thomas, who has a show who I used to do a show with, does not believe him. And there's a big whole thing that people don't believe Bob. Whereas I never really looked at it where he didn't seem to be not believable at all. I was like, okay, this guy seems pretty legit. Yes, it was Jeremy Corbell. Thank you. and it goes through with him, the documentary. Let me see if I can find his most recent one. And where was the one that he did? Documentary. Oh, and here's the other one that I didn't realize too, because this goes to show I'm more into the paranormal, but I do like aliens, but I haven't gotten as deep as you have. Skinwalker
Because you're not
Ranch.
using the Baldo.
Clearly, I need a conspiracy Baldo to get real deep into this Mel's hole. But
There's a great show on Netflix too about the Skinwalker Ranch.
What is Skinwalker Ranch?
the Skinwalker Ranch. It's this ranch that's in the middle of literally nowhere, like literally nowhere, and there's a lot of UFO sightings around there and a lot of paranormal stuff, and it's like the Navajo Indians. They're part of their belief system is that there were these skinwalkers. They were basically shapeshifters that could take on the skins of other animals and people and do bad things with them. That's where a lot of the cattle mutilation cases come from, is from the Skinwalker Ranch.
Okay, so do you believe that? Okay, really quick. Super Iron Bob, Coast to Coast AM was also a late night radio show pre-podcast era that had Art Bell as a frequent host. Loved listening to it as a kid. Went up late. Yes, if you're just joining us, we were talking about at the very beginning, and Jeff Legal Vice is here. Make sure you subscribe. Talked about that's what got him into a lot of the conspiracies after seeing what appeared to be allegedly an alien sighting himself at the age of 4 in Logan, Utah, outside of Salt Lake City.
Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff that goes on there at the Skinwalker Ranch. Apparently, there's, dimensional issues, cattle mutilations. Again, I mean, they've cattle mutilations been going on there forever, and it's interesting. I can't remember exactly where it is, but there's some sort of weird paper trail about the ownership of the ranch.
Really? Now I'm saying, okay, is it called The Hunt for Skinwalker? Is that the Netflix one?
I can't remember what it's called. Skinwalker Ranch movie.
As you're looking that up, I'm going to share this from one of my one of my late and great friends that I worked with.
It's just called Skinwalker Ranch.
Okay.
It's a 2013 film. Might not be on Netflix anymore.
I want to share this really quick with my birthday buddy who I worked with at RT America, the late and great Larry King. Many don't know that he worked at RT America, but here is
his last wife was a Mormon lady from Utah.
Oh, really? Yeah. Did not know that. Is he the one that he had
Utah.
Is he the one that he had his last son with? Because his last son is super cute.
I wouldn't know.
Well, Google that shit. He's super cute. He definitely doesn't need a Baldo.
Does the government hide this? Well, so we all believe. Most people believe in extraterrestrials.
Right.
Most people. So what are they afraid of?
We're living in a different world now. Since December of 2017 with Commander David Fravor, the Tic Tac UFO case, which I broke before the New York Times.
Is that Bob?
On that twice.
Yep.
That case.
So it's the latest. It's the latest documentary. And they came on just before this, where they did a documentary. I can't remember. It might just be called Bob Lazar. I feel like
the one on Netflix. It was called like Area 51 and Aliens or something like that. It was Bob Lazar, Area 51 and Aliens, I think is what it was called.
Okay, yes. And that was with Jeremy. And so Larry had them on because I remember previewing this, and this was back in 2019, which is when I started. Around this time. So that's where I remembered seeing this, and I was like, oh my God, it's Bob Lazar.
Opened the door, so we now know the government did not stop studying UFOs in 1969. There's a program called ATIP. That program is now acknowledged. So what are they afraid of? I think they're afraid of weaponization. I think that's the issue here. And also, you're right, we're not alone in the universe, but are they visiting here? And that's the question that they've been unwilling.
Well, I always said it's why don't they just release information that these events occurred and they can keep the technology secret? That I've never understood. So I'm with you on that.
Why don't they release the technology? Or no, what did he say? He said release that these events occurred, but never release the technology. I feel like they wouldn't want to do that. Just because
somebody would want to come and get the technology.
Right. Like you're going to give it to the Russians are going to want it. The Chinese are going to want it or something. If people can confirm that these events occurred. Do I sound crazy? I mean, that's to me why I'm like, Bob, they're not going to, that's why they're not going to confirm this shit.
Well, and the thing that I think gives credibility to Bob Lazar is he's got nothing to gain from doing this. It's not for notoriety. Not many people know who he is. And it's not getting him any favors from the government. He has nothing but lose to come out of talking about any of this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let's see what else they have to say.
Why are they afraid of you? What are you going to tell us?
First of all, really quick, I love you, Larry. Oh, shoot. Where did it go?
I hate when I do that.
I love you, Larry, but you look like an alien. I've always loved you, but he looks like a little alien. And we have the same birthday, too. I have old interviews with him where I'm like, happy birthday, buddy. It was I did a show on my birthday with him and I, but he could be a lizard person, which is another conspiracy.
I don't. You'd have to ask them that.
Why do you think, Joe? What are they afraid of?
I don't really know. I think that it's a big concept, Larry. It's a big concept that we're not alone and that we're being visited. And in 1989,
am I wrong?
To this day, we're in a different world. I do believe that what has come out by the Pentagon, the videos by Commander Fravor, that they admitted there are unknown aerial objects of advanced technology that are fly with impunity in our airspace. It is now admitted by our government. If people don't know that, they now need to know that.
And that's the thing is this documentary came out just after they released, because I mean they had been working on this for a while, and it was just after the Air Force released those videos, and the timing of it was not planned. However, or at least by Jeremy Corbell. However, I think by the Air Force it was, because if you remember in that documentary, they interviewed multiple people from the Air Force. And also around the same time, I think a year before that, it was Unacknowledged with Dr. Stephen Greer, where
another great guy.
Yeah, where he pulled that stuff out, and I don't know, it's questionable. I just saw one over here really quick. Baldo Gagger, Farron, you misunderstand the point of the Baldo. It's not to replace the noodle. It's to be used with the noodle. And back to Lizard Larry. But thank you, Baldo. I guess.
We're in a different world. I'm very optimistic.
Never miss a beat. Subscribe to Larry King.
So, I don't know, man.
What do you think? I know I heard you talk about it the other day. That's why we're having this conversation here.
Yes, and it's not going to be the last. What do I think about what?
Extraterrestrial life entity visits, anal probes, things like that. Where do you draw the line?
Well, anal probes sound like the Baldo now, but
maybe it's alien technology. It looks like it.
That actually could look like alien tech. You Earthlings, new way to have better sex. Okay. I think that we are not the only people in this universe. Like, I mean,
wouldn't that be the most arrogant thing in the universe, considering how billions and billions of years old the universe is? If we are the penultimate result of evolution on a universal scale, and this is the best the universe has to offer.
This is what we came up with. Exactly. And that's where I agree with you too, is I don't think that there's no way that we are the ultimate it factor. Like there's just no way. I mean, and the universe has got talent. We would have been last. We would have been the last winners.
We would have been the hungs and the other the gag guests,
They're like, wow, this group of people over here, can sense things through their fingers. This group over here can literally read your mind. And these people over here learned how to fill every piece of food on the planet with high fructose corn syrup. Like we lost the Universe's Got Talent. Okay. that's let's just make that clear. Number one.
Have they visited us?
So I really do think that when you watch Unacknowledged, especially in times like where we are now with like Russia and China and how things have like really leveled up, they always talk about how there are so many sightings during times of potential nuclear war. And they talked about it, during the Cold War. They talk about it during the Manhattan Project. And honestly, like, I sometimes believe it, that maybe aliens are like, yo, there was, I think it was Unacknowledged, where they said that it was somebody that worked at Area 51 who said that there was an evening where and again, don't quote me, but it was where they thought about possibly firing off something and the entire power went out, like just at this particular moment. And they were like, they don't know what did it. They don't know how it happened. And it might not have been in the United States. It might have been like France or somewhere, but it was something was supposed to happen.
That happened to me this morning.
Exactly. And that's where I sometimes think about it. And I'm like, I could sometimes see that happening. However, then my question is, okay, but we still dropped the A-bomb on Japan, and maybe then after the fact, now they're trying to be like mommy and daddy, like be like, don't do this. I don't know, but I do think it's very weird that you have an uptick of sightings during times when the clock gets closer to midnight, and we're at about 9. I think it was the last I saw was like 110 seconds to midnight. So I don't know. So your thoughts?
Do you? But you avoided the question, Ms. Journalist. Do you believe that aliens have visited our planet?
As far as visited, if you're talking about have they broke our atmosphere, I think absolutely. I mean,
okay,
I think that they've broken our atmosphere for sure.
I would agree with that.
Because there's just so many, and again, our government, even I think you missed it before, but one of the people in my chat, Mike Morrison, works at Lockheed Martin. And I hope that's not his actual name because he has it on his thing. But he works at Lockheed Martin, and he has said that there is so many things. Like one night I talked about the stealth bomber, and I was like, I thought as a kid, because we used to go to the Chicago Air and Water Show every year. I thought as a kid the stealth bomber was by far like the coolest thing I'd ever seen in my life. If you've ever seen it, here he is. They have been here, and he's very, very yes. And he has said that the technology that we have had, he thought that it correlated with the technology that we have advanced. That it kind of correlates with the same time that there are alien sightings or light sightings or what have you. Yes.
After the Roswell incident, that's when computers started to develop at insane speeds. That's when we got a lot of this technology. Coincidentally, after the Roswell crash was supposed to have happened.
Yeah. And if you look at, for example, let me pull up this again so you can see how cool of a ship this is, or ship, plane, whatever. And to see that this was actually and Mike said that this was actually designed in the 1960s. Okay, this looks like straight up from like Battlestar Galactica or like somewhere in the future, and this was the 1960s. And he even said, okay, this is from the 1960s and you thought this was cool, imagine what we have now.
Yeah.
And so, yes, I think they've definitely cut through our atmosphere. As far as on the ground, I don't know, because I will say the pictures that you always see from Roswell, they sometimes look like they could be completely fake, but sometimes truth is stranger than fiction.
Well, and I mean, the thing about Roswell that lends me to believe the story is news media reported it initially as an alien spacecraft crash. And it was only after that they started saying, no, it was a weather balloon. It wasn't like there's a weather balloon and they go, no, I saw the aliens. This was legit media saying there was an alien craft crash there. Bodies were recovered. Oh, just kidding. A few days later, it was a weather balloon. And so I would agree with you up to this point so far. If we're the best the universe has to offer, well, that sucks. That's really disappointing.
Yeah. Well, and then not even that. Like even Mike has told me in the chat as well. He's like, a lot of times they will go towards weather balloons and flares. Like, I don't know if you saw the show that I had last week. San Diego was reporting sightings happening above the naval area there in San Diego. Really quick. Oh, hey, Grimspar, how's it going? Roswell was a nudit program utilizing sound channels, same as SOFAR spheres for downed pilots in World War II. Same guy developed it.
You don't say.
What does that mean?
I don't know.
Grimsbar, be more specific, but you don't have to super chat me. I talked to you the other night. Stephen Greer, Encounter of the Fifth Kind and Unacknowledged, an expose of the world. That I agree with. Yes, absolutely. Let me see if I can pull up my for those that didn't get a chance. Oh, here we go. Mike Morrison. There were several other incidents after Roswell as well, but never underestimate the intelligence of the human race. You always speak cryptically to me in riddles, Mike.
Well, I mean, again, I like the idea what you're saying that that people will come and check on us at various points in our development. I mean, that was kind of the whole idea behind 2001. Was there's these monoliths that are that lead us to the next level of development once we've achieved the ability to find that monolith. There's the one on Earth, the one on the moon, and the one around Jupiter. So and I would think that and that was the whole deal about like Star Trek, that we developed the warp engine, and then the Vulcans came and said, all right, let's see if we really want these people to have this. Are they responsible enough to handle this technology? Okay, they seem to be. We'll look them into the universe on a probationary basis. I like that they're going, okay, what are we going to do? And do you read science fiction at all? I like hard science
As a kid, I did. Yeah, as a kid, I did. And I do like the alien movies. Like, actually, there was a really cool movie that I watched just because a friend of mine was in it the other day, called The Tomorrow War with Chris Pratt. Because my friend, I think he was one of the ammo guys on it. What's the manager of like the ammo stuff that happens? What
Armorer?
Armorer. Thank you. It was my friend that I told you about this morning on your show. That was one of them, and it's cool because they show how you can they find wormholes where you can go through in the future, and how they pull people from today to go fight a war in the future, and they pull people actually who like have like quick like that are going to die like in the near future to go and do it. It's a super interesting movie.
Cool. That sounds cool.
But it's very, very sci-fi. But yeah, definitely watch on Amazon Prime. And it's with Chris Pratt. And so yeah, I do like sci-fi, but sometimes it's a lot to wrap your head around.
I like hard science. It's like factual based science fiction that's plausible and theoretical. They're developing a series for Netflix now that's based on these this 4.5 book series by a Chinese writer. It's called The Three Body Problem. And it's that's what they talk about this, how humans get the first radio signals from space. They send a reply, and the aliens go, okay, let's check out what they're all about. And they create the dark forest theory, where everybody else is out here, And then suddenly there's a new person that moves into the forest, that moves into the jungle, moves into wherever. And all the other existing people have to decide now, is this emerging culture a threat to the rest of the universe? If you let them go, they may attack you and destroy you. But if you hold them back, there may be so it's basically, the first thing you should do as an advanced technology is immediately destroy any new player that comes into the field. And so the idea is to create this dark forest where you have to find a way to develop without drawing your attention to all of the others out there that are possibly looking to destroy you. So and you have to do that to show them you're not a threat. You have to prove that you have the ability not to be a threat by sealing yourself off from the rest of the people. It's a really cool series.
Wow.
They're
and you know
developing
what?
it for Netflix.
Oh, and I will Baldo that series like nobody's business. I like this though. Have you ever looked at anything about the real Men in Black? Dan Aykroyd had a whole Alien series canceled after he had a visit from them. I do think the Men in Black thing is real. And I'm not gonna lie, my dad, one of his favorite movies of all time is Men in Black. And my dad, after he saw that movie, he was like, that shit is 100% real. Like, and I never asked my dad why he thought that or anything. But I do think that kind of stuff where, they visit the lady where she's like, Esther, your skin's hanging off your bones, where her husband's an alien and shit. But I think that stuff actually truly does happen.
Well, that's part of Bob Lazar's story. People show up and say, we're not talking about this anymore, Bob. And so I do believe that we've been visited to check us out. I do believe they say, okay, we're the first ones here, or different groups maybe come and go, okay, well, who are these people? And maybe abduct one or two people and do some animal experiments, maybe just to, as any good scientist would collect specimens from, that's what we do. We go out in the forest, we gather things and pin them to boards and cut them open to see how they work, because we're bigger and better than they are. And I mean, to us, we would be ants and bugs to anyone else out there in the universe. And so but where I kind of draw the line is everybody everywhere is being visited by aliens. Everybody has been abducted.
Right.
And Billy, it's like, how many anuses do you need to probe before you know what a human body looks like?
Yeah, exactly.
The big famous one, they made the movie about with Travis. What the hell was the guy's name? It was like one of the original abduction stories.
I know what you're talking about.
Travis.
Travis, hang on. Alien.
Aren't you so glad we don't have to go to the library and look through library cards
right?
to do this anymore?
Hang on, we'll be right back, guys. Travis Walton.
Yes. It was like the fire.
And there's a Netflix on that too.
Yeah, I mean that is a legit scary story. And again, Johnny Ringo, great. I mean, that's a scary thing, because what does he have to offer by going out and telling this story? Why would you go out to tell this story to have your life literally ruined?
And it happened in Arizona, out west. Nobody out there. I mean, and it says, where is it? Let me share it really quick.
Chat. No, I don't believe the power outage in my house was aliens, but it was just really weirdly coincident that I was playing on the internet and I clicked to join this conversation and the entire internet went out in my house. It was just weird.
Yeah, let's see what else. Yeah. I mean, I kind of laughed about it. I was like, are you serious? And then I was like, oh wait, he's really not here yet.
Yeah.
An alleged alien abduction of American forestry worker out in the forest. 1975, while he was working at the Apache Sitgreaves National Forest near Snowflake, Arizona. Missing for 5 days and 6 hours. Hovering over the ground approximately 110 feet away, making a high-pitched buzz. After he left the truck and approached the object, a beam of light suddenly appeared from the craft and knocked him unconscious. I mean, shit. I mean, it came back. There was searches for him and everything. I think there's an Amazon Prime about this, and they actually talked to him as well. But I mean, still, you're right. He has nothing to gain from this. And that's where you look at it and you're like, what? Like,
well, and his story's not, hey, cool, they took me up in this alien ship. And it was like, he's traumatized by this.
Mm-hmm.
And then he feels like he's being traumatized again by people not believing the story, not taking him seriously.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So now
I don't believe we're being interacted with daily by everything. Like even Carl Sagan said, if there were actually spaceships attached to all of these alleged sightings and abductions, our airspace would be crowded with alien ships.
Yes.
So,
yes. Totally agree. Yes. Let me, hang on. In 1897, Aurora, Texas UFO crash and alien buried in cemetery. Question heard at Art Bell's. All guests were him doing the show himself.
No. All Art Bell's guests were real. They said we got these people, David Ikes or Ickies, however you want to pronounce it, Bob Lazar, and everybody we've mentioned tonight has been on Art Bell's show because he was literally the only one that would give these people a public forum. No other radio show would touch this, and that's why it was such a huge success. Was because he gave these people voices, and that interested people.
Now the only thing is though is where I then have questions is I'm like, okay, David Icke thought at one time he was Jesus.
He's a nut job, straight up.
So
that's my opinion on David. Yeah,
because some people
looks like.
Yeah.
Well, look at his storytelling and look at Bob Lazar's telling. Who has more credibility and believability? You know, Bob Lazar won't increase his story to make it seem more sensational every time he tells it or add some new thing that he was told through mysterious means. He's like, hey, this is what I saw. This is what I know. And his story has never changed.
And it wasn't even that like Bob Lazar said that he was abducted or anything. It was just, I saw an alien. I saw them trying to take apart a UFO spaceship and put it back together. What was the other thing that he said that he saw?
Well, he had the element, the new element. I can't remember what it was called, but he had like an element that he had taken away, and then men in black people showed up and said, "Take that back, thank you. Here we go." And he doesn't have it anymore. And that's see, he doesn't have it. Well, yeah, you fucking took it away from him.
Exactly. Yeah. Why would they allow him to keep it? So fun tonight, but now I got the creeps and it is my bedtime. Might sleep with the lights on. LOL. Please do this again for sure. And next time we're going to do it, we'll do it on your channel.
Yeah.
Legal Vices. And again, make sure that you subscribe to Legal Vices. I don't think we're going to lose any subscribers. I'm not going to lie.
Well, let's see what's happened to me since we started talking. I'm just curious.
And you know what? I'll even check myself too. Maybe it's a conspiracy. Maybe it's not. I'm actually really interested.
Oh, wow.
I haven't gone down.
I've got 10 more than I started with today.
Yeah, so, you son of a bitch. You didn't lose anybody. And I got 50 more. So that means my audience, y'all got to go sub over to Legal Vices and make sure that you show him some love. Because you actually, like I said, you do stuff outside of you don't do just the law. You do a bunch of different stuff. You do a bunch of commentary on stuff, which I think shows your all-encompassing range, you know.
Well, that's the problem with the unsettled mind that wanders. You want to do everything, but you still kind of have to keep focus so you don't have 10 people watching you. You have to keep a focus on your core audience and what you want to do. And I've been doing this for like 6 weeks, and so that's really. But I want to go out and do this weird thing, and I go, nobody wants to see that, just me. And then if you don't want to dilute the field, but something like this. I think
if you go and actually get some footage though of you at Zach Baggins' Ghost Museum, I think actually that we can do a stream or a premiere, if you will.
Oh, sure. Yeah, we'll do that.
So Mike Morris here,
Element 115, yeah.
Which was said to be something he made up. However, it is now being studied as a way to create new means of propulsion. There you go. And this guy's no liar. I'll tell you that.
Well,
or he could be completely bullshitting me, but he has sent me his info, which I have looked at, and it's, yeah.
I'm pulling up one thing here because I want to make sure I talk to the right person. I talk about the right person.
Folks want to know, what time do you stream?
Usually around it would be 7, 8, or 9 a.m. Eastern time in the U.S.
which would be about
PM.
between noon, which would be about noon.
AM. Yeah. AM. Sorry, AM in the West. 7, 8, 9 PM Eastern time. God, I gotta stop saying PM. AM.
Which
7,
would be
8,
about.
It's like I'm 13 hours difference from the West Coast, so 7 AM there is 8 PM here.
Okay, so which Carla?
future.
Because I think you're in the UK, which would be if it's 7 a.m. here on the East.
It's 8 hours
8 a.m.
here, so
on the East
it would
Coast.
usually be around 1 p.m., 2 p.m. London time. It's
Right,
kind of around
yeah.
when I do my shows.
Because I was like here Eastern, you're 8 a.m., which London is 5 hours ahead, so around noon. So
Yeah, the name I was trying to think of was Edgar Mitchell. Well, he was the sixth man on the moon, and he says, I have seen shit out in space. I have seen things. And you get all these people that are like, yeah, we never went to the moon. Earth's flat. Yeah, the moon landing was a hoax. He said something very, very profound. He said, the question you shouldn't be asking is, did the moon landing happen? The question you should be asking is, why did we stop going to the moon?
oh shit.
And he said he's seen things on the moon. And he's saying that's the question to ask. Why we don't go back.
Well, and that's where they were saying that stuff's happening on the other side of the moon. The dark side of the moon, as Pink Floyd would say.
Mm-hmm.
And that, to me, that's freaking crazy. Because oh God, who was it? Well, and then here's the other part too that's so crazy is then you see all of these like, for example, like when they had the one guy saying, oh, you never went to the moon, and like where it was not Neil Armstrong, who was the other guy? There was
Alan
somebody
Shepard.
that punched somebody that punched the dude in the face.
Well, that was
They
Alan
were
Shepard,
talking-
I believe. Was it Alan Shepard?
Maybe. They punched one of the guys in the face who went there and was like, you guys never went to
Yeah.
the moon. And he was like, shut the F up. Punched him in the face. But
It was Buzz Aldrin. Buzz Aldrin. punched the
Thank
dude.
you.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, though, is that part of me thinks that we actually might have got to the moon. Shit went down. We went around and used, like, as they say, like in Armageddon, where we use the moon's gravity, slung shot back to the United States and was like, see ya. And then maybe might have done it on a sound stage, like we don't know. But, and that's where I will say it does look fake AF. And the fact that like they have the video of it like landing on the moon. You're like, what? Like how? But that's my only question is like you said, not so much did we land on the moon? Why aren't we going back? I think that's a great question.
And Edgar Mitchell has some great stories. It's like talking about possible glass domes on the moon and possible bases and things. He's saying that it's not that we didn't go, we're just not going back. So it's kind of cool.
It's kind of cool and kind of scary at the same time, but the other one though too is then Elon Musk going to Mars, like with the little Mars rover.
Yeah.
I don't know if I buy it yet. I don't know. We'll see.
Well,
see. But
whoever goes to Mars, it's going to be a one-way trip. You're not coming back from a trip to Mars.
And what is it? You lose like 3 years when you go over there or something like that?
If we can accelerate that fast, you sort of get a little time dilation thing. But I don't know if we can go that fast yet. But yeah, the actual travel time I think is 3 years, 3 or 4 years to get there.
They're saying the lost
how do you get
cosmonauts
back?
theory. The lost cosmonauts theory is a great one to look into.
That rings some sort of deep, dark bell in the back of my skull, and I don't know why. Is this the theory that the Adam and Eve were essentially aliens from another planet that either crashed here or decided to settle here? Which makes a whole effing lot of sense to me.
Here we go. The The lost cosmonauts or phantom cosmonauts are subjects of a conspiracy theory alleging that some Soviet cosmonauts went to outer space, but their existence has never been publicly acknowledged by either the Soviet or Russian space authorities. Proponents of the lost cosmonauts theory argue that the Soviet Union attempted to launch human space flights before Yuri Gagarin's first space flight, and that the cosmonauts on board died in those attempts. Soviet military plot. Vladimir Ilyushin was alleged to have landed off course and then held by the Chinese government. The government of the Soviet Union supposedly suppressed this information to prevent bad publicity during the height of the Cold War. Which, mind you, real quick, when you had the Cold War and all of this stuff going on, not to go completely off track, Reagan's whole plan was to drain the Soviet Union of all of its money by doing this stuff, by doing nuclear weapons, and
Star Wars project. Yeah.
And it's happening in reverse now to us, but Putin's having a big laugh at us, which that might lose you some subscribers. We'll see. But it's one of those, that's what I keep saying. I'm like, you guys, this whole Ukrainian thing is such a freaking proxy war, and it's literally payback. But I don't know. That's a conspiracy in itself. But yeah, I don't know. The other one that I heard though too was that there were a couple of Russian cosmonauts that actually got to space. They just didn't know how to bring them back down, and that there's actually ships of cosmonauts just out there.
That is utterly in the realm of believability, Yeah,
I mean,
you can do those things when you have an authoritarian, totalitarian dictatorship of a government. You can do shit and don't have to tell people about it.
You go, you don't come back. But before we hand you guys off over to Ricada, just because I know a lot of people have been asking about it, and I know you kind of addressed it a little bit this morning, but apparently the copyright strikes have been lifted. But folks were asking, you were going to put out a video about the copyright strikes and all that other stuff.
I still will, but it's going to be different. Let me pull up my Twitter to see if there's been any developments in my private messages here before I open my trap. Oh,
this one, this would be a fun one to talk about. Moses, Torrid.
Looks like there's been nothing new, but my take on this deal is that apparently, because Kurt was saying that let me pull up where did it go?
For those really quick that were asking, Mad Cormofo came in and said that Kurt had lifted the strikes. Don't know too much more detail than that, but apparently he has lifted the strikes.
He said, I retracted all existing copyright claims against other videos. I have no privacy complaints outstanding. But what he was saying is that one of his moderators seems to have may have filed some complaints on her own based on her private medical information and stuff being shared and being doxed. So she, private correspondence, and she's apparently suffering from late stage cancer. And Kurt is asking people to tell people to knock that shit the fuck off. Don't go after the, she's had advanced cancer and the stress is causing her serious health problems. I'd appreciate anything you could do as an occasion may arise to get people to stop the abhorrent behavior of doxing and sharing out his mods information. I'll kind of be talking about the drama, the apology tour if it happens, and leave the mods alone.
Yeah. Now, in some respects, I know who it was that came in and said and was talking to the Discord, and was putting this information out there. While I understand they don't want that private information out there, I will say this as a journalist, when it comes to a Discord and stuff like that, from this point forward, understand that when you put messages out there in a public forum, it is going to be public. People will be able to take that stuff, screenshot it, and put it out to the audience, because you're technically putting it out into a Discord audience. So that's the one thing where it might kind of suck for that person because they didn't realize that and they thought that maybe they were trying to mend bridges and what have you. Always look at any kind of DM or anything in a Discord or any of that as public information that people can take and put it on a live stream and put it out there.
Well, and my general overall take in a nutshell is, and it's the same thing that Legal Mindset was saying to you. That the rule number one is have a sense of humor. Mm-hmm. I get it sucks when someone makes fun of you, but if you go, well, I'm going to double down on that and make this my own. Mm-hmm. The question they had, what do you look for in a woman? My dick. That was one of the funniest goddamn answers I've ever heard to that question in my entire life.
Yes, and I laughed too. Yeah.
And if someone had put a clip of me saying that up, I would be like, I'm awesome. I'm internet famous. Mm-hmm. It's like Oscar Wilde said, the only thing worse than being talked about is not being talked about.
Yeah, exactly.
Lean into it, embrace it, take it, make it your own, laugh along with people, do your reactions to the reaction videos. Just, you take them and you completely disarm them by taking over and go, oh, they thought they were hurting me. Well, this is hilarious. Let's talk more about it. And you can mm-hmm. make it your own. You can embrace it and lean way into it. Mm-hmm. And you catch more flies with honey kind of a thing,
Yeah. And I do want to mention this though, too, because, and I could even say it too. Like there was the clip of Kurt on your channel laughing about it. And then now knowing you better than I did, where you were laughing about it as well. And I even said, I was like, wait, Jeff, what are you doing laughing? Like, you're a small creator too, like I am. Like, why would you be laughing at that? However, I can see hindsight is 2020, where you're like, I don't really know the whole story. Kurt says this and he's trying to be funny. And you even said like, chat, I don't want to talk about this, because people were going to other members of like the community and asking them to talk about it. And I see the other side where you're like, I don't want to get into it,
Yeah. I mean, that's my default position. He makes copyright strikes against a smaller channel. That is between him and the smaller channel. Mm-hmm. If he does something to me, I'll put him on some motherfucking blast, hands down. But it's mm-hmm. not me and it doesn't involve me. And then, people come onto my chat when he's there as a guest to talk about legally things. And he does have a brilliant legal mind. When he's on there talking about that, and it was like bringing up the copyright stuff and stirring up drama on my chat, where it doesn't stir up all the shit you want on his channel, but mm-hmm. not my chat, not me, when he's just here for a birthday stream to say hi. Mm-hmm. So that's the default position, because I would like to think that you would work it out between yourselves, you and the copyright strike person, and mm-hmm. move on.
Right.
But then, when the subject continues to make a bigger deal out of it, to the point where literally that's the only thing everybody's talking about it, you no longer have the luxury of maintaining your ignorance, and mm-hmm. you have to go and look into it and see what's going on. And it was like with the whole legal bites drama thing. I'm the new kid on the block here. I have zero desire to step on anybody's toes. Person A doesn't like person B. Well, that's between them. I can like person A and person B both. They don't have to like each other. Mm-hmm. But then there comes a time when you have to go, all right, whether what you did was right or wrong, which I think he was wrong. Mm-hmm. Whatever you did, whether it's right or wrong, shut up, apologize, and move on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's it.
Exactly. And hopefully he does at this point. So drama averted.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. And I'll probably do a video about it later today or tomorrow. Just basically mm-hmm. saying that. Because, I can't we all just get along?
Yeah.
The internet, right? We're adults here. Mm-hmm. And the thing that there's drama and it's just, it seems so childish to me.
Right.
And don't get butthurt. It's on the internet. I mean, if someone says something like horrifically defamatory, that might be a different story. But that was shenanigans.
Mm-hmm.
And you be happy you're so fucking famous that people want to waste their time to make these videos about you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And, like when it comes to this, like, Kurt's removing any comments, that's his prerogative.
Yeah,
if he wants to do it, that's his channel. If he wants to be Kurt Jong-un, that's his prerogative, like that's his prerogative.
Did you see Joe's infamous genie stream?
No.
Yeah.
I've seen the pictures, but I didn't know what it was about.
Yeah, I can't remember which Jewish holiday it was dealing with, but he came home, I mean, drunk as fuck, doesn't even begin to describe his condition. And I'm trying. I know Legal Mindset was on the stream. Nick may have been on the stream. I can't remember who exactly was on the stream.
I think he might have been, from what I remember, like vaguely seeing it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he was way off this. I mean, he's bringing all of his family members and all the relatives that are there on stream, and he's dressed like the genie from Aladdin. He's barely conscious, and he's not paying any attention, or he's not even able to be cognizant of the other guests, and they're like all like, they're trying to get him to cut off, and he's just going. And he woke up the next morning, and I guess he reviewed it and went, "This is pretty cool. I'm going to clip it." I mean, people could have used that to try to destroy him as being an absolute degenerate, drunk piece of shit, waste to humanity. But he leaned straight into that and said, "That was pretty silly. That was pretty ridiculous. I'm going to clip that and make an entire post about that," which is how you handle it.
Exactly. Like there was a thing last night on my stream where I sometimes forget to unmute myself, and I went on this whole freaking 5-minute rant that was amazing. And I'm just,
we saw
you were here, and then somebody super chatted.
Yes, it Linar, it was Purim. Yes, that was right. That's what it was.
Okay, yeah. And somebody super chatted Ricada legit just to make fun of me, and I'm going to clip both of those clips together to show, hey, we can all, when you are live for multiple hours a day, shit's going to happen, and just better to embrace it than exactly. I am the new fucking Elaine of YouTube.
Was it you or someone else
Elaine,
that was saying
mic.
That's why we have blooper reels?
Yes, that's me. Yes, that's why news anchors
hell.
have blooper reels. Yes. And let me tell
everybody
you,
likes to see the poor bastard that has to stand out in a hurricane for no good reason, just to fall into a giant puddle or be splashed by a garbage truck. They can do that in the studio, but this poor bastard has to stand out on the street. People falling into ponds, and that is funny.
Have you ever seen this one? I'll even show you really quick. Oh gosh.
I mean, you did it. People saw it. Why deny it? Everybody knows it happened.
Well, and some of them, it's like, you're like, I mean, I'll even show you exactly how, like, to make fun of yourself. Where is it? Fun videos. This one, I was a young buck reporter.
Oh, this is you. Cool.
This is me. I was a young buck reporter. And when you are out in the field, a lot of people don't realize that you have to go out and shoot on your own. I had to hold up the camera by myself, mic myself up, all of that. When you get to network level, like what I just was in, like you have people doing all of this stuff for you. But when you start, this is in South Bend, Indiana. Okay. You're doing all this stuff yourself. And one of the other things is when you're on the side of the highway, you have cars that are driving by. The whole story was to show how some of the roads get plowed and some of them don't. And, you wait for the cars to go by before you start doing what we call a stand-up, where you're explaining what's happening. And this is what ensued. And I put this everywhere because I thought this shit was hilarious. It's about 2015.
Ah!
Oh my God. Oh my God.
And he did that shit on purpose.
And I knew he fucking did it on purpose, because I was sitting there and I was just like, that mother fluffer. But that's, and then I did a whole video where I had it where it was the slow-mo, where it was like, I can feel it coming in the air tonight. I mean, like, you just have to make fun of yourself, because what good is it if you're sitting there like, no, I want it off the internet everywhere. I filmed it. Everybody's going to see it, So.
And those are the real moments. I mean, those are the fun things. If you de-weaponize things, then you win. Like, again, one of the recent funniest things ever is you having Nick do the motivation thing for you.
Oh God.
I mean, just the fact you were, and I don't know if you were just doing to be part, or if you really wanted to make him the most uncomfortable he's probably ever been.
Well, that was part of it. Part of it was that, yes, but like, and here you go. Part of it also was for motivation, and I forgot to I forgot to share it actually. And where was it?
I mean, Nick was so pained, and he did not
Oh,
want
you
to
could
do
tell
that
too.
so much.
You could tell. You could tell he was like, son of a bitch. And then part of me, he was laughing, and I was like, oh, this motherfucker knows that I'm fat and I need to lose weight too. But that's the fun part of it.
I've got my own 50 pounds of COVID on me. I'm working on getting off.
Exactly. Like we all have it, but it was one of those things like, just give me some motivation. And I think, oh God, I mean, everyone even saying they're like, I think because there was the one time where I broke Nick, where I came on his stream for the very first time, and he said something to the effect of like, he's like, that was the lady at the Johnny Depp trial or there was a different lady that said something about my baby is yours, Johnny. And I was like, oh no, Nikki Poo, that was the same lady. And like, apparently the chat laughed their ass off that I called him Nikki Poo when that's how I talked to grown men, where I'm like, no, you're wrong, bitch. It's like, no, Nikki Poo, like as a joke. And so the next time I came on, they wanted me to call him Nikki Poo every time. So I figured, okay, he can now make fun of me. But so you can see he's so.
Oh no, Fair and Balanced, don't do this. Why would you do this? No. Fair and Balanced says, Nick, I need motivation badly. I need a fat shaming alarm ASAP. I need to drop 50 pounds in the next 3 months for a network gig I'm up for. Really go for the jugular. Just let it all out. Go for gold.
He's even like, motherfucker. Let me take a shot first.
Give me a moment.
Mm-hmm.
Fair and Balanced, you're a terrific YouTuber with a great show. But I have to admit, what attracted me to it first was gravity. The light,
and he is so good at doing these things off the cuff.
Actually was bent.
He's so deadpan
because of your massive status.
Mm-hmm.
They say the camera adds 20 pounds for you. I hope
it's 200.
Because my God, you've got a long way to go. What I'm going to need you to do, if you can muster it, is to get up out of whatever chair somehow God sent is supporting you and get onto a fucking treadmill. I don't know if you have to put like 12 chili dogs on a stick in front of you dangling from a rope, but you need to run endlessly. Run from the camera, run from life, run from everything until nothing can catch you, because you're lithe, lean, and fast. Because right now, the only L's are being taken by every scale you step on. You have 3 months to get into some sort of acceptable shape for a networking gig. And my God, no more Herculean task has ever been asked on the earth, except for when someone was asked to lift you out of the couch.
Laugh, Legal Vices. I wanted to make you uncomfortable.
So, pick your ass up, start running, start walking, start clapping, and most importantly, stop eating. And remember that you asked for this. I actually like you. I actually like you. I don't like to do that to my friends, but I will. I will if they need it.
See, and now you have the option of posting it and laughing about it, or making a copyright strike for some reason.
Exactly. And you know what? And he even said as well, he's like, you know what? This just gets more people over to my channel. That's what it does. And it's so right, because because
Yeah.
it's just more publicity. So with that said, I do think Rackets has started.
Yeah, he started about 10 minutes ago.
And we've been going at it, baby, since 9
Yeah.
p.m. But let's do this again, because I feel like
Definitely.
chat, one in the chat if you want to see this show again. Don't even give me a 2 if you say no. Just I want to see all the ones. We're too sensitive tonight.
Probably have to be around the first weekend in August when I get back, because I'm literally leaving next Saturday morning here. And
Okay,
I'm gonna be
perfect.
busy getting ready. But yeah, we're definitely doing this as soon as possible, and I'll have hopefully have the Bagan's Haunted Museum videos.
Oh, and so we will do it on your channel, and that will be like the premiere. It'll be the premiere of all of it. Yeah,
we'll do that definitely.
Let's do it. So, with that said, thank you so much. I'm so glad you brought
thank
this.
you for having you here.
Make sure you guys subscribe.
Thank you for having
Legal
me
Vices.
here.
No, I know what you meant. But make sure you guys subscribe to Legal Vices, because amazing content creator, also a real-time lawyer over in Korea who's kicking some ass and has got some great commentary when it comes to a lot of stuff. He had a great morning piece this morning on, who was it? It was Sarah, who was friends with Hannah with the fanny pack, with the rust set stuff. Lots of crazy stuff. Yeah. But when you watch it through a lawyer's eyes, and especially too, where you were like, oh, this is okay, here we go, where it was the whole questioning and everything. It was so interesting to see. So make sure again, you subscribe to Jeff at Legal Vices. And yeah, we'll keep you posted when this is going to happen again, because I got to tell you, this is a lot of fun. So.
And anyone that followed me over here, make sure you subscribe to her if you haven't already. She deserves it far more than I do. She's actually a professional.
Coming from the guy who was a radio DJ and a JD too. So, all right, everybody, we will see you guys next time. Thank you for all the super chats. Wherever you are, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. And as always, may the good news and even the good conspiracy news be yours.